All right, testing 1, 2, making sure everyone can hear me. What is good, everyone? Yes, happy weekend, because it's the end of all weakness as we know it. Nobody's going to be weak tonight. We are all going to be very strong and independent. We're going to be strong and independent of all of the... Well, I don't exactly know what we're gaining independence from, but we're going to do it anyway because I feel like it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now I'm just repeating myself. But thanks for everyone for joining. I see plenty of familiar faces here tonight. I hope you're all doing very well today. Yeah, I've got... I don't have too much planned for today, but we will get to some of the stuff that's been recommended before. I do have on my list, we still have to get to the flower-powered video, the Edwardian farm stuff, and then I have some other things that I noticed at the last minute that I was like, okay, Jackal, whatever you say. But, speaking of which, hello, Andrew Quince, welcome back. Let's say hi to YouTube for me, but, alright, so yeah. Okay, the first order of business, hold on. I need to reset... Alright, that's better. I needed to reset my avatar. For some reason, it was bending, the neck was bending in a way that I didn't need it to, so I had to fix that. But I wanted to talk about something real quick. I've made mention in previous streams that at some point I wanted to sing songs on stream the way that some VTubers do in... Like, I've seen, like, some VTubers do, like, live covers of songs. But when I was while I was editing some videos, I noticed that my mic audio wasn't syncing up with my desktop audio. I noticed there was, like, a half-second delay between one or the other. So before I ever start singing stuff, I might have to figure out how to fix that. Like, I know there's a way to do it on OBS, but I still don't know. I'm still not very familiar with how it works. There's like, if anyone has any suggestions. Stop cutting. You guys keep hurting. Y'all keep hurting yourself all the time, and it's bothering me. You need to be careful with those skizers. You owe your cut to... You have a cut that you owe to something called a skizer. Why would I... That's a real good question. I do not know. Why is Tom Dubois in Riley's bed? All the beds in the house, and he got the possessed brother in his bed. Ain't that a bitch? Some old bullshit. But, yes. So, yeah, I had mentioned in the chat earlier that we watched that Candy Capital video, and yeah, that was so much fun. Eventually, I'm gonna make that into a standalone video. It'll probably be only lightly a sedent in the freezer. Why is everyone getting injured all of a sudden? Damn, what the heck? No, I didn't. Accedent. Yes, it's the accedent. It's an antecedent. Yes, we're going to just come up with a bunch of random vocab words that all vaguely look like accident. Because from time to time, Riley Freeman would have a little accident. Because, here's the thing. People wonder about R. Kelly, right? But Riley was all like, let's examine this whole peeing thing. So he can pee in the toilet and it's okay. But if he pees on a person, it's not okay. But what if he's peeing, and then Huey, his brother Huey, is in the bathroom, and then he accidentally pees on Huey? Should he go to jail then? Except, they used to sleep in the same bed when they was littler, and from time to time he'd have a little accident, and he still does. So he was all like, Mr. Dubois, Mr. I wanna lock brothers up for peeing. What's the statute of limitations on bedwetting? Why not prosecute me and R. Kelly at the same time? I have no idea why I went on that tangent, but I'm glad I did, because I said that I would. So, but either way, I did hint at it earlier in chat that I found a video at the last minute that you might be oxidant, oxidizers, oxycodone, oxycontin, oxygenic, antioxidants. We have all the Occident as opposed to the Orient, but yeah, earlier in chat, right before the stream started, I mentioned finding a video at the last minute that I think Jackal will be pleasantly surprised to see. When I saw that, I was like, oh, we had to watch that. No, we have to watch that video, and I will show it to you in a minute once everyone is settled in. I think that's going to be the first thing that we look at tonight, and then we're going to look at some of the things that we've had on the back burner for a while, and oh my god, it's going to be so good. I've already watched like the first few seconds of it, and I was like, okay, this is going, and it went in a direction that I'm pleasantly surprised by. But I'm also checking on the video that's been... No, it's not that. Although it is relevant to you in particular, and you'll find out why. And then I see this other video that's on the side after clicking on it, and then we're definitely going to look at that. Maybe not tonight, but at the very least at some point in the future, because it is definitely... don't mind that noise that was in the background. Someone is in the room with me, and I think they're about to head on out in a moment, so... once they're out, we'll be able to get started right away. But if anyone actually has any recommendations, since that's the title of this, since that's like the title of the, is it? You're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. I'll tell you that much, Jackal. You're getting warmer in that. But we'll check it in a minute. But if anyone has recommendations that they want to make before we actually get started, I only have like 2. Well, I got 4 videos total. One of them is a meme video, and 2 of them are things that Jackal recommended the other night, including the Flower Power, and then the Edwardian Farm, and then the second part of that CED trilogy. So I do want to finish up that trilogy, even if it's gonna be like slowly but surely. But I'm very excited to check this first video out, because I feel like that it's very relevant. It's a lot more relevant than you might think, especially in light of what some would call current events, let's call them. But I'm gonna wait for the person that's down here to head on out before we get started. But if anyone has anything that they want to suggest before we move on, I'm more than willing to hear you out, as long as it's nothing too obscene. Although, judging from some of the things that some of you guys have been suggesting, I might have my work cut out for me, but I guess that's the thanks I get. But this time I did remember to hit start recording. Once again, I forgot to record last night's stream, and so, but I just downloaded it not too long ago. Everything should be all right. There are some, like, there was a Metatron video that I wanted to make into a standalone video regarding the whole Tylenol situation, but let me put my headphones on and... Alright, now let's actually move it over to the thing that I found. And here it is. Jackal, I can imagine, pretty much. But don't worry, it's definitely, I guess, adjacent to that. We're going to be looking at this here. Let me remove this. The Christian furry rabbit hole. I saw this at the last minute, and I was like, oh, we had to look at this. Knowing Jackal in the chat, I hope that I don't know if you've seen this video at all, but this is definitely something that's... When I saw this, I was like, oh, we had to look at this. We had to. Oh, there's no excuse. It's a video. Yes, it is. And, have you seen it, actually? Have you seen it, Aisha? Because I haven't seen this. I'm sure Jackal might be very amused by it, all things considered, but I definitely do want to check this out. And there's also a video down in the corner but my avatar is blocking it, so I'm not going to spoil it right away. But no, once everyone is settled in, we're definitely taking a look at this right now. So before we get started, if this is a standalone video on YouTube, since circa 2019, dude, 25% of the fandom, huh? I mean, there's actually something that I've been meaning to talk about for like Okay, all right, Aisha, all right. No worries. But there was something that I've been meaning to talk about for like months now, but I don't know how to really begin talking about it. I just have to wait and see how things turn out. But if this is a standalone video, please be sure to check out Please David's channel and original video. And we're going to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes, because I'm quite curious to see what goes on within the followers of Christ that happen to have the furs.
Furry Jesus. Now that we got that out of the way.
Candy corn?
Yeah, we're talking
All right.
about furry Christian furries? Furry Christians? I think Christian furries. Look, I don't know much about furries. I don't know much about religion. So I think I'm the perfect guy to be talking about this today.
Okay, one moment. Let me do this. So this is going to be very interesting to see. No, I saw like the first few seconds of this and I was already, we have to look at this.
Now, I don't want to say too much before we get right into the content because it kind of just speaks for itself. It's a very interesting group of people. It's very small, mostly hated by the two.
And we have the two group. I've seen this original image before at least once.
Groups they're a part of. You know, Christian.
Oh, you watch this? Sweet. Don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it. No spoilers. Nope.
Don't like furries.
You're a fucking weirdo.
And furries don't usually like Christian. And then you just got
oh, good lord.
these like Christian furries in the middle who are like, for the most part, kind of minding their own business. I really didn't know this existed. When a temptation cell says
I kind of did know this existed, although, I mean, I do remember seeing a video about some fox guy with a wolf girl, but the fox guy wanted her to be a trophy wife, or it involved some dinosaurs cheating on each other. I don't actually remember what it was. When temptation cell says something
so Christ-phobic, you gotta hit them with the true believer stare.
like this. Am I doing it right? Does anyone else imagine him as a lion? I mean, I know that the Lion of Judah is a thing. Oh, hello, M monster. Yeah, I can imagine.
That's kind of tough, though. Hell yeah. Dude, I need this. I need a huge fucking back piece of this.
Oh,
I'm not a furry or a Christian, but this has a back piece. Oh, here's another one.
Oh, who was it that mentioned that Charlie Kirk's persona was, yeah, the Lion of Judah? Yeah, the sacrificial lamb and the dove of peace. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, actually, I won't quite. I do remember this. Yeah, what's up, M Monster? Welcome to the chat. I think this is your first time. Oh, but was it? I think it was Jackal who mentioned that Charlie Kirk's persona was a beaver. May he rest.
We all know who that is.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that was.
So I'm gonna kind of try and show you what the standard Christian thinks about furries, what the standard furries think about Christians and religion, and then we're gonna hear from the Christian furries themselves.
And then we're going to hear from me, who I still haven't actually said it.
Just gonna get right into it. Before I do that, I just want to say, hey guys, how's it going? I am so happy to see you.
And
again.
of course, we gotta have the Ocarina of Time music. I need to start using Ocarina of Time music more.
And if you're new here,
Tasukete. Slow down.
also don't forget to join my Discord server. The link is in the description down below. With that being said, let's get right into the video. So before I start showing you some of the actual like content, I found this on Fur Science.
Fur science. This is an actual thing in the religiousness of furries. Well, yeah, I can understand this bar. I can't necessarily. They're all. Spiritually, they all seem to be rather balanced, but I guess religiously, I don't know where I would place myself on this. I guess not. I honestly don't know where I would place myself on this graph. No, wait, no, it is a graph. I was going to, what the hell am I? This is a bar graph, not a histogram.
Science.com. This is a furry information website, I guess.
I've never seen this website before. This is my first time hearing about it.
Just wanted to show you this graph here. Now this is on a scale of strongly agree to strongly disagree, census of the relationship that furries have with religion, where you can see that most of them strongly disagree that they participate in any sort of organized religion. And one of the reasons being is that most of religion sort of looks down on furries, but let's hear it from a furry themselves.
We'll see.
Copy-paste spreading the gospel in random unrelated TikTok comment sections is a form of forcing religion, and the only thing it's accomplishing is annoying people who just wanted to read comments about that video. If you do this, you are actively part of the many reasons people hate Christianity and pushing people farther from it by being annoying. Who said that?
So,
I don't know how to respond to that.
generally, the evangelical nature of religion is sort of upsets the furries, right? They don't.
It usually depends. Like, I'm sure a majority of quote-unquote religious people don't necessarily care about that kind of stuff. It's usually more like some of the more vocal minorities that actually care.
Want to make a furry TikTok, and then someone in the comments, you know, posts a gospel verse or whatever. They seem to like to combat this with memes. Christians don't accept me just because I'm a big belly gassy furry.
Do you really have to say that out loud?
They will learn.
Fuck you.
Kind of deserve that.
Excuse me? I know I've mentioned multiple. I know I've basically revealed that I do like quote-unquote big guys, but that's too much for me.
You know, you guys have been asking for fart stuff. I haven't done that in a while.
No, I'm not
there
doing
you go.
that.
So this big belly gassy alpha is combating the religion with farts. Awesome. You know what? Do it.
I don't get it.
Do what you got to do.
I'm not going to do that. Hell no.
The average Christian maybe think of furries. So on
It
GodQuestions.org here, someone asks, how should a Christian view furries? To which they say, a Christian then should view furries as people who need the love and grace of God. Furries are not animals, but humans made in God's image. A Christian should point furries to the grace of Jesus, just as they would with anyone else lost in sin or confused by this world's ideas. For the most part, I guess they don't like that they dress up as animals because they are not animals. They're humans. But
Well,
Actually, scientifically speaking, humans are.
we should approach it with love.
we are technically animals, at least in a biological sense.
Okay, let's hear from a Christian content creator.
Funny question I'm answering today. Is it okay to be a furry? Listen, you know, sometimes things can start off very innocent. It can start off, you know, as we're just having fun, etc. The thing is that where a lot of, in today's society, there's this hard line between, you know, what I identify as versus what am I just having fun with. In the Christian community, if you are a believer, identifying as a furry is not biblical. You know, can you have fun with an outfit? Can you have fun with, you know, I don't know, some of y'all just go and you dress up and have fun with these things. As long as they're not demonic, they're good, they're fine.
Yeah, it's when I have the fact that I have this avatar because I think it's fun. I think it's fun and it's cute, and I'm not really doing anything obscene with it.
Do they become part of who you are, who you believe you are? And that goes for every kind of identification. If I don't see myself as the daughter of God in any area, if I allow maybe a man to be abusive to me, guess what? That's not part of my identity, and even that is not okay. So my friend, there's your answer to that one.
So perhaps being a furry can be demonic?
Yeah.
Or seeing yourself as anything but a child of God is wrong. Once again, hey, guys, I don't know much about any of this shit. But
Yeah, we should have really judged. I mean, what she said was fairly, not necessarily very, you know, she didn't really say anything that I would take issue with. She's just like, if you're just trying to have some fun, then that's one thing. But if you're going to go take it to an extreme, obviously people will have a problem with that.
a rebuttal I would have to that I think would be on the side of the furries is that isn't every creation sort of a child of God? Like, can a turtle not be a child of God? What if I'm a turtle furry, you know? Still a child of God, no?
I mean, he has a point there. I mean, a lot of people in different faiths teach that, like, life is sacred and all that, which, obviously, if the... I don't even know how to respond to this without, like, trying to force any beliefs onto other people. The last thing that I want to do is force beliefs onto other people.
I would think. I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure.
Do you believe in furries?
No, I do not.
Do you know what a furry is?
The hell?
I do.
And why don't you believe in furries?
Because they're not real.
So if I wanted to be a dog, and I dress as a dog, am I a dog?
No, you're not a dog.
What am I?
Oh.
You're a guy in an outfit.
You're a fucking weirdo.
Do you believe?
Okay, so it seems like a lot of people actually agree with that take. Top comment on the video is, if this guy runs for president, he'll have my vote.
Cynocephaly? Saint Christopher? That's my first time hearing about that.
80,000 likes on that. Also, I love how it seems like he comes to some insane realization.
Oh, no, you just reminded me. I remember when I was raised Catholic, and when I was baptized, my patron saint was Saint Christopher. That actually explains a lot more than even I realize. If what you're saying is true, that actually explains a lot.
For a second.
Oh. You're a fucking weirdo.
Like, and then ends it with that. It seemed like he had something super enlightening hit his mind. But yeah, so now you see, right? We see where the furries have problems with Christians, and we see where the Christians have problems with furries. But not all Christians think that way.
Hello,
I know that there
Bubba
are
Frog.
Christians who
More or less.
call themselves furries. I know them. I know a lot of them, in fact. They're the ones who, most of all, are asking these questions because they legitimately don't want to be sinning, but they don't know if what they're doing is sin because, the Bible doesn't say thou shalt not be a furry.
No, that's something that I've been wanting to point out for like a long time, and not just in terms of like the Bible, but some other books as well.
Like, it's not as clear-cut as that.
This guy's saying you need a lot more. There's a lot more in the Bible that's up to interpretation that might not suggest that furries can't be Christians. You can't follow the religion and also enjoy being a furry. So far we've heard from Christians who don't like
You don't think I'm a freak, do you? Because I haven't really done anything freaky.
furries. We've heard from furries who don't like Christians. But what do the furry Christians think?
Okay, I see. No, you're reminding me of a content creator named Quizzy on Demand. No, I haven't. No, you're reminding me of a what? What was it? No, a content creator named Christian on Demand who always calls everyone a freak. It's like, yo, you're a freak for doing that, and they'll be doing something so inconspicuous, that is like, oh Lord of mercy, no. No, I was listening to, what was it? Oh, I was listening to a reaction to, what was it? Shit, what was it called? Oh yeah, he was watching like the second to last episode of which Rick and Morty episode? I don't even remember. And then he was also, I don't touch any of our dogs. I don't know what you're talking. Good Lord, do I really have to deal with this? Hey, you two, I need to check something real quick. We have family dogs, but I've never touched them, so I don't understand why you have to do that.
Don't want to necessarily start us off with what they think. I just want to give you a taste of their culture. The Lord does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. He thinks he's Christian. You aren't a true follower like us. Christ, my heart is yours.
Oh, Lord. Wait, let me read.
He thinks he's Christian. You aren't a true follower like us. Christ, my heart
I see.
is yours. Look, I do think there's something kind of jarring, slightly comedic, just about inserting a furry character in here in this context.
There is something very unusual about that.
It's funny, but hey, you know what? This is a
No, it has to do with the fact that he's got these little stripes on his muzzle and the little hairs, right?
a representation of their feelings. While all these sinners over here are judging, the fox boy has his nose buried in the Bible, studying scripture. When a temptation cell says something so Christ-phobic, you gotta hit them with the true believer stare.
Hold on. Well. Give me one moment, chat. Give me one moment if you're watching this on YouTube. I need to I have to check something.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. No, everybody's gotta hit the true believer stare once in a while, right? What animal is that? Is that
I think it's a lynx.
a lynx? Is that a bobcat? A lynx, perhaps?
It looks like a lynx.
It's a temptation cell? I fear I may be a temptation cell. I feel like I'm definitely a temptation cell. A lot of this furry Christian content is them just like taking something that could just be regularly like Christian Facebook memes, basically.
Wait, who suddenly disappeared? Give me one moment. I mean, I have a... There, you happy now, bitch? Happy now, bitch? Is that what you wanted, you little bitch? Shut the hell up, whoever the hell that was on Kick.
And just inserting a furry character on top.
I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, someone on fucking Kick is making obscene comments, let's call them. So I'm gonna hide the chat for a little while. No, I'm not dealing with that bullshit. Fuck that.
And it kind of fucking works. Okay, so I saw this. It's just a screenshot of a YouTube video called "Being a Christian Furry," and that is a scene from the video. First of all, the person who posted this.
Oh yeah, I saw this a little bit ago.
Disliked the video. Hey man, come on. Why you gotta be such a hater? But this scene from the video, I was like, dude, I hope to God this video's still on YouTube because I'm going to check it out. Fellas, I have a treat for us. I found the video. Posted 18 years ago.
18
This
years.
is an 18 year
18 years, and on our 18th birthday found out it wasn't his.
old YouTube video we're about to watch. This YouTube video could fucking vote. Also, I might have to put other music over top of this video because I think there's copyrighted music in it,
Is
but
there?
whatever. The music doesn't really change what's going on.
Okay. Being a Christian. And there we go. And the morphing.
Sorry.
Candy corn? Yeah, we can do that once we're done with this video.
That's kind of tough, though. That lion Jesus is kind of tough.
Does it, Jackal, do you think this image goes hard? The shit can work. This needs to be more stylized in that sort of Renaissance form.
It's
There's
awesome.
something low-key cursed about this.
So, dude, it's awesome. I feel like I have no even desire to criticize. I'm just in awe.
Who the hell was that supposed to be? There's no way that's Mary Magdalene. Oh, I see what's going on. And this is the Christian art book style. Like I've seen like a few cartoons in like elementary school. No, not elementary school, back when I still went to Catholic school.
Hell yeah. Dude, I need this. I need a huge fucking back piece of this. I'm not a furry or a Christian, but this as a back piece, fucking huge.
Travis Fur Lover. Okay.
Shout out Travis Fur Lover. So that was just a peek behind the curtain, you know? A little moment of delving into the mind, you know, the deep, dark mind of a Christian furry. Dude, I fucking...
Oh, okay, that's just freaking weird.
Love this picture.
That's crazy.
This is so good. The kid's kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's hitting the... Like, I really don't know if you have to hit the squat. Like, if you have to hit the doggy
I wouldn't squat, honestly.
squat. I'm not sure if that's necessary. But the guy here's just like, hell yeah. You know what? Yeah, sure. On your way here, eat the little cracker or whatever, you know?
Eat the cracker.
It's just, like, I feel like this
It's, actually, the technical term is communion wafer.
belongs in a museum somewhere. So the next thing I'm going to show
Museum,
you, I feel like I need like a PhD in anthropology to fully deconstruct everything involved with it.
Oh, I can't
don't
wait.
understand what I was really looking at.
Oh, don't worry, I'll see.
And I debated whether or not I should actually show it to you guys, because I know some of you are going to be really upset, some of you are going to probably laugh, and then others probably...
He's canonically a lamb? I can imagine. Oh, Lord.
80% of you are going to have the same reaction as me, and it's just going to be...
It's, it's having 7 horns, 7 eyes. Okay.
What? Because that's what I did the first time I saw this, okay? So just be ready.
No, I've had that in my mind more than once, that he would definitely be a lamb, at least.
You're about to see something that's, like, oddly shocking and strange.
Oh, I wasn't even paying attention when he originally... no, I was looking through, like, the timeline here, and I saw this, and I was like, wait, who is that supposed to be? That's certainly shocking, to say the least.
Yeah, yeah. And from what I can tell, that was posted, like, that was a serious post. That was not a shit post, from what I can tell. And apparently there's a reference, like, there's some context to this, so there's this video.
Oh, is this...
I have one more question for you. What is your fursona?
So this girl asked him what his persona is.
What is it? I gotta know.
It's the beaver.
It's the beaver. Okay, so just...
The beaver, which, that's why they drew this.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. It is what
They spelled Charlie wrong.
it is, man. So strange. So strange. Earlier, I did show you that there was some debate amongst Christians whether or not to accept furries. There's debate among furries whether or not to accept Christians.
Of course, it's one of those us versus them mentalities, yet here I am, caught in the middle, neither on one or the other, and I'm just floating in the ether, just waiting for something to happen.
And now that we're within the actual Christian furry territory, there is also debate between them whether or not they should really fully accept the rest of the furry community. Here's an example. This is on a Reddit AMA of someone saying, hey, I'm a Christian furry, ask me anything. The question is, so just a neutral question, what is your current stance on furries now that you are a born-again Christian? To which the person replies, well, I joined the fandom because I like the art style. I will admit there is a massive amount of degenerates and LGBTQ members in the fandom.
True.
But I look at it now as a platform for me to reach the people that need Christ the most. I personally have dozens of Christian furry
Not to say that I'm like that, but part of me kind of is.
friends, and we remain safe for work and praise the Lord the same as any other Christians. So I'd say my stance went from mere interest to concern, and I want to help those who are pushed away by the average Christian. There is a whole subsect of Christian furries where their goal, once again, is to just like fix other furries. So this is like
That's literally what I am trying to do with this channel. Shit.
POV TikTok of a furry talking to someone else, and there's Optimus Prime's voice over it. I don't believe in God. Please don't
Optimus
talk to me about the
Prime.
gospel.
Request, we will honor it. But before your president decides, please ask him this. What if we leave and you're wrong?
That's a good question.
I love the idea of Christian furries being like Optimus Prime level saviors for the planet.
I wouldn't say that I'm Optimus Prime, nor would I say that I'm a savior, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to help out.
Do you think me getting that back piece would be a show of faith? Do you think that would get me into Christian?
Oh, you know who that is? I don't know who anyone is, aside from like a handful of people.
Furry heaven? Yes or no? Okay, I have to mute this one. This
It takes two to start a relationship. Well, kind of.
one is so good, dog. This is the same guy. It takes
He's also a gun fur. What the hell does that even mean? You know, you keep coming up with all these terms. There's burn fur and gun fur. I don't know what the...
two to start a relationship, but it takes three to keep it together.
Wait.
It takes
I
two
need
to
to
start a
see that.
relationship, but it takes three
Oh, of
to
course.
keep it together.
Oh, Lord.
Dude, this.
Shit.
Love it. That image, first of all, so funny. Kind of upset Jesus isn't a furry, but that's awesome. Because I know it's Jesus walking on water and like pulling you out from underneath, but it looks like Surfer Jesus. Like,
Oh, I
it looks
see.
like it looks like Jesus shredding the gnarliest wave. Like bro, like bro's in the tunnel or whatever, I don't know what you call it. I'm not a surfer, but this looks like sick ass Surfer Jesus. All right, I'm pitching this as a fanfic that will get eventually adopted into a movie. You guys just have to write it for me. A story about two furries who love each other, and they eventually open up a polyamorous relationship, right? Where
He
the-
likes gun. Well, I can imagine, but I mean, I see gun fur, and I'm like, is he a furry that likes guns? So I don't know what I expected.
third partner is Surfer Jesus.
Dude,
Dude,
I don't know if Jesus would be into that.
comment because this is my reaction too. Not Christian, but hell yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, honestly, I don't get your vibes, but hell yeah. POV when you've been suiting for too long.
What?
That's a big cross.
That is a big cross.
You can tell how devout this one is.
No, what the hell is he supposed... What the hell is this outfit supposed to be?
Oh no.
No, I don't want to hear that.
Oh no.
What was that supposed to be? That didn't make any
I did
sense.
not think I was going to see more fart stuff today. In Christian furry community, how am I seeing more than average fart stuff?
That's a really good question.
What's going on? I found out about this
Not
community that exists called the Christian Furry Fellowship. I found it from this
There's a fellowship, huh?
post here where it's just a screenshot of a tweet that says leaders of the Christian Furry Fellowship fear doxing from within the largely secular furry community for their Christian identity and ostracization from their personal lives for their furry hobby. I was like, oh, sweet, Christian Furry Fellowship. I'm gonna go check it out. And they have a Discord server. I'll be
Oh.
honest, it was kind of lame. It was
It
kind
was kind of lame. I'll pass.
of just like being in a Christian Discord server. There wasn't really anything interesting in there, but I did see two things that
Oh.
were sort of interesting. So at first, I saw this message. Someone had asked if LGBTQ members are welcome in their furry fellowship.
There are some people that I know that would take issue with that.
To which one of the mods replies, yeah, well, LGBTQ peeps are very welcome. The server's official stance is side B, so it's pretty low likelihood that support for it will be common. We want to be friendly and understanding with everyone, even if we don't agree with their beliefs. Anyone is welcome as long as they aren't breaking the rules. So I was like, okay, we don't
Hund the Hound? Okay. So Hound the Hound.
want you to be gay, but you can still be here. Just don't go...
Oh, Lord.
just don't go being gay in my face, kind of thing. Well, someone had posted some pictures of themselves at a pride parade, and someone
Oh, jeez.
immediately goes, "Why are you at a pride parade?" So
I
this is
don't
just a
know.
more example of some of the infighting that happens within the Christian furry community, where it's like, you know, this group boils down to much smaller groups. I also saw this message.
So we have sectarian issues, huh?
That I'm only going to include because I have no idea what this means, and it kind of gave me whiplash reading it. Like, I really don't understand it. I'm just going to read it to you guys. The joke, not really a joke, is that a great many autistic Christian women effectively reprogram themselves into sleeper cell radfems by the sheer power of autism and the weight of Christian misogyny.
I don't know what that even... What does that even... No. That's the thing about these kinds of things. It's like, they say... I don't even... I apologize. I should be commenting more on this, but that kick troll was distracting me, and they're still getting to me.
If anyone wants to break it down for me in the comments, what this means, I'd love to hear it. The Christian Furry Fellowship also has this trailer on YouTube for their community. It's kind of sick. There is some sick art styles in here, but it's just a trailer for their community as a whole.
Oh. Copywritten music again. What the hell? Why is it... Jesus loves you. Thanks
Jesus
for
does love you.
I mean, it was cute, but
that's facts.
That's awkward.
That is facts. So, I mean, there was clearly much better artists than others, but hey, it's art regardless. I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of this one.
No, that's... No, see the rib cage on that.
This one was pretty good, though.
Yeah, that one's
Now,
cute.
let's see how a Christian furry actually unpacks their beliefs and why they think that, you know, furries and Christians are both wrong about the relationship between Christian ideology and being a furry in general.
Hey, yo, warriors, and welcome to another Q&A. Gosh, I haven't done this for a long time. Now, what that one cat thought Toby really wants to know is there anything against being a furry in the Bible? Well, to give you a good explanation about that, the Bible doesn't condemn or endorse being a furry because it isn't mentioned at all. But what
I mean, it has to do with the fact that it's the furry community is a relatively recent phenomenon that does have, like, roots in some... I do remember watching some video about the history where there was, like, something in, like, either the late 1800s or something else where people would come together to just draw walking, talking animal art. And then it kind of evolved into what it is now.
matters is your heart and how you live it out. If your participation is wholesome, self-controlled, and honors God, loving Him with all your heart, showing gentleness and respect to others, and using your art to point people to Jesus, then it's not inherently sinful. The key is to set healthy boundaries and steer clear of anything sexualized, exploitative, or idol-like. Be mindful of how your online presence and...
Yeah, that's something that I try to do. I try not to go too far in certain directions. I always try to maintain a certain level of self-control.
affect your younger audiences, and the vulnerable. Practice accountability with trusted peers, and let your hobby serve as a way...
I gotta pause it. I'm sorry. It's so interesting. It's such an interesting feeling watching this come from this guy.
No.
To the gospel of truth, rather than a distraction from it. And remember, the Bible is clear that we're called to flee from sin and to cultivate fruits of the spirits: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Right.
And those virtues can shine through your creativity when you keep Jesus at the center. So keep your character steady, your motives pure, and your content aligned with Christ's love. Glorify Him in how you create, how you interact with fans, and how you love others in the furry community.
They basically say, you know, it's more about what's in your heart. You know, as long as you're not doing anything too nasty, then you're good, right? It's all about what's in here that matters.
Yeah, it's like, for me at least, I don't mind wanting to get into a relationship with someone that has a nice looking suit, but I don't want to go around sleeping with random people like that. I don't want to have to do that.
So I know there are like a lot of Christians out there that don't support Trump, and that's totally fine. However, you cannot be a Christian and be left-leaning, because the thing is that the left supports are completely against the Bible. Oh my goch, I love LGBTQ people even though I don't agree with them. What a crime. Do you know what's really throwing me off? The fact that an accepting and loving party and just gets upset the second that you have a different opinion or a different belief or a different worldview. They start spreading hate and assuming these horrible lies, believe all these horrible things, when that is absolutely not.
It is just so shocking. Like
I don't... This is a freaking roller coaster of a video.
Mind-bending. Is anybody else, like, are you starting to see the fractures?
I see it.
See the fractures within...
I saw the fractures before we even started.
Its own community, and it's already such a small community. They can't even, like, as small as they are, they can't even, like, agree on one thing together, except spread the word of God. Like, you gotta be kind of aware that you are living one of the most alternative lifestyles, right? So
alternative, huh?
Like, what you're doing is like how you're living is essentially like a little more extreme to your average, I guess, conservative who you would be voting alongside, right? than someone just being gay. I'm just going to cap off this video by showing some of the most confusing things that I've seen, because once again, I'm not...
And we're all here for the confusion.
Sure that I fully understand whether or not there is like an underlying unifying thing for the Christian furries other than just Jesus loves you. Like, I mean, look at this image.
What the hell? What is it? What is this? Why is there COVID hazmats?
What does this even mean? You know? What?
I don't know what this means. In all honesty.
COVID-19 medicate Indonesia? Like what is Indonesia? Indonesia and COVID have to do with furry Jesus in heaven?
I don't know.
You know, I don't know what's going on, man.
Neither do I.
Oh, here's another one.
Oh, yeah.
We all know who that is.
Yep.
Anybody? Also, is this like something is bending my mind. Something is bending and warping my mind.
Oh, wait. No, that's not a lamb. That's a ram. One of the greatest rebels who I really admire, Christ. He was a rebel. He ended up being crucified. He was a great rebel. Hugo Chavez.
Okay.
Still not the right.
Hey, I mean, I think they're having fun, right? They're having fun. Cool stuff. Hey, interesting stuff, to say the least. Like, I feel like looking at this image is enough to start
This is cursed as hell.
An internet war.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, Christian furry AI art. Not a sentence I ever thought I would say. Right?
Not a sentence I thought I'd hear.
I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. He is fucking deep.
I never thought those words would come into my ears.
So, holy shit. Huh.
Okay, this was kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Eat.
I think this is where I draw the line.
Oh, and then the MS Paint style.
On how much of this I can consume. Why is that the lead paint stare?
Lead paint.
Also, who's holding a Bible like that?
That's
cool times. Hey man, I just love learning about new people. Yep. I think that's the only takeaway I can have from today. It's just cool learning about new types of people. I think if I was to boil down like literally exactly what I learned about Christian furries is that they are definitely more Christian than they are like furry, right?
Probably.
They're just evangelical Christians who like dress up sometimes. And that's it.
I don't think they're necessarily evangelical, though.
Anyways, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video.
Okay, that was certainly a treat. Unfortunately, I got distracted by someone on Kick, so I wasn't able to properly commentate on this video, but I'm going to leave a like on it anyway, checking everything. I don't have to deal with that. Yeah, let me check. I'm gonna keep it hidden until more messages pop up, but I apologize for not being able to properly commentate on this. That chatter. No, seriously. Okay, I do want to. Let's go ahead and just move on now. That was that I got. At least I got it out of the way. So I do want to check out this if Jackal is still here. I do want to check out this Flower Power documentary, where we explore how milling is made in Minnesota, and it charts the growth of wheat farming and harnessing of water power. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Twin Cities PBS, huh? Here, let me speed it up enough so that we can get it over with. And let's go ahead and see the power of flour.
People have been milling wheat in roughly the same way for a millennium. But in the late 19th century, this crucial food-making process was about to change dramatically at the Falls of St. Anthony on the Mississippi River.
The specific type of flour created in Minneapolis is really
it's a good one. I'm excited.
In world history.
As I think I've mentioned this in a previous stream that I'm a baker. I make bread where I work and sweets, so I might be able to relate to it.
Convergence of ideas, enterprising individuals, innovation, and natural resources changed milling and forged a new global food industry.
Hello, Kilillian. Thank you for the follow.
And full of food energy.
This industry
Yo, what's good?
It altered the economic and literal landscape of the upper Midwest.
I apologize for if you saw that one Kick chatter.
It would spur a spectrum of businesses. It would make household names out of its founding families.
And that made our area the breadbasket of the world.
All right.
As these meals turned, they drove change and growth that would ripple across the region, the nation, and the globe. And this is how it begins.
Flower power, let's go. Nice. The Minnesota Experience. We're gonna call it the Jimmy Neutron Experience. joining for the first time. I'm happy to have you.
The story of milling begins largely in small local mills, as you have white settlers moving into the eastern and
Aw,
southeastern
thanks
portions
so
of
much.
Minnesota. Milling is part of everyday life, whether you're talking about lumber mills or flour mills and small localized mill production.
We're learning about...
feature of white settler colonial.
Sorry.
One thing they had a problem with was finding cash crops. You needed food for your own sustenance, but you also wanted to find something you could sell, and wheat was the obvious answer.
The wheat that was first planted here is called turkey red. It's a beautiful wheat. It grows really tall. It's a burnished red. It's what inspired the phrase amber ways of grain.
Bread making was
I don't think it
hugely important to 19th century, early and mid-19th century kitchens. Bread is the only food that's eaten 3 meals a day, 7 days a week.
Bread is thousands of years old. It goes all the way back to like the pre-pottery Neolithic. It's one of the oldest.
Began what became known as the King
professions,
Wheat era, that really flourished from 1860 through the 1870s and 80s.
A vivid account from a visitor to Hastings, Minnesota in the late 1850s described the key crop of the new state.
There was wheat everywhere. Wheat on the levee, wagon loads of wheat pouring down to the levee, wheat in the streets, wheat in the sidewalks, warehouses of wheat, men talking of wheat. It was the one idea of Hastings the afternoon we arrived there.
In more recent times, wheat's kind of been replaced with corn. You could find corn on a lot of things, including diapers.
Minnesota was called by one observer in 1874 as one huge wheat field. If you were a shopkeeper, a milliner, whatever you did.
You could probably describe the entirety of the Great Plains that way.
If you wanted to make some extra money, you learned how to grade and buy grain from the farmers. And that turned a man like Theodore Sheldon, a lot of people know the Sheldon Memorial Auditorium in Red Wing. He was just a mercantile, regular businessman, and he started investing in grain, which led to the necessity for banking, and this has happened in the other river cities too.
A name that would be familiar the world over is Cargill. William Wallace Cargill started a grain warehouse business that took advantage of the growth of trade in southeastern Minnesota.
Cargill and PV were very big line operators and went all the way west with the grain. And of course, the railroads themselves were quite the moneymaker along the way. But it was mainly shipping, storing, and then selling the grain that where the real money was. And that's where those families, those companies did very well. I call it a grain rush. It's not quite as dramatic or interesting, I guess, as a gold rush. But
not as big as the gold rush, but no. Hello, Silas, if I'm saying that right. I mean, no, anyone who controls the grain supply can pretty much control civilization. I mean, when you go all the way back, we mentioned that, thank you for the follow, Silas, but I mentioned how bread making goes back to like the pre-pottery Neolithic and all of that. And with like the rise of cities in like Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley, obviously grain is very, very important for the civilization. One could even argue that it might even be like the backbone of civilization.
In many ways, that grain turned to gold.
Millstones spun this gold, grinding wheat into flour. In centuries past, mills were turned by people, livestock, and wind. In Minnesota, waterways provided a picturesque engine.
Wherever there was a flowing water, you could dam it up, build a small mill, and you'd be in business. Goodhue County, in 1873, was called the Banner Wheat County of America. It also had a milling industry that was second to none. They were all around. I believe there were 27 flour mills and grist mills in Goodhue County. And Winona, Hastings, and Red Wing, and those three communities in particular, were becoming wheat ports. There were no railroads until the early 1870s, so farmers had to bring their product to market, and it was to the river cities where it could be shipped. Those cities really grew on wheat money. It is true that wheat built the river cities of the Mississippi River Valley, south of St. Paul. There was more milling, certainly, in that area before Minneapolis was even formulated.
The small village of Minneapolis may have been playing catch-up to the river towns to the south. But the would-be city, and the more established St. Anthony across the river, had what in business terms would be called an unfair advantage.
Minneapolis has a monopoly, if you will, a monopoly on power. The amount of energy produced by the falling water in St. Anthony is immense. It's immense. As early as the 1830s and 40s,
kind of hard for me to comment on any of this.
Water power at the Falls of St.
But
Anthony.
I'm going to try.
They envision a great city, a great industrial city, on the banks of the Mississippi River at the falls. And where some see nothing but natural beauty or the kind of awe and spectacle of nature, they see dollar signs. They see that is power to be harnessed.
I can imagine that.
Timber, that will slowly be shifting in the late 1860s and early 1870s as small flour mills become larger and larger.
Among those who got into the business of sawmills and water power was a Civil War general named Cadwallader C. Washburn.
Cadwallader Washburn. He was the middle son of 10 children, grew up in Livermore, Maine. He was a store clerk. He was a school teacher. He became a surveyor. He then became a land speculator. He's a congressman from Wisconsin, a dedicated abolitionist. By the end of the Civil War, he holds the rank of Major General. He's a lumberman in Wisconsin. He has a lumber mill in La Crosse. He takes a riverboat up the river, and he rides over to see St. Anthony Falls, which he had heard about. And it is said, when he first saw the falls, he gasped, because he saw not just a waterfall, he saw a source of energy.
Oh, so we're talking about like hydroelectric whatevers.
Mill powers, the term used to describe the control
of I think I know what they're talking about.
Power were in the hands of the Minneapolis Mill Company. Washburn, now joined by his brother William, worked his way into control of the business and control of the awesome power of the falls and the river.
In 1866, at the end of the Civil War, he builds not just a flour mill, he builds the largest in the region. And it's so large that it's called Washburn's Folly, because it is thought that no one could ever sell as much flour as Washburn's new mill will make. So suddenly, Washburn's Folly, which it was thought maybe a failure, is actually very successsual, and he's operating at capacity within a year.
While Washburn was consolidating his power on the west bank of the Mississippi, another New Englander arrived to begin what would be a decades-long competition. In 1872, Charles Pillsbury joined his family in business on the east bank of the river.
Oh, so no, I saw General Mills, and so this is where Pillsbury comes in. If anyone knows about the Pillsbury Doughboy, otherwise known as Riley Freeman.
Charles Pillsbury is a railroad clerk. He's had a business
Oh, so he started out in the railroad.
A produce distribution company. Charles Pillsbury decides to buy into the milling business, and he buys a failing flour mill. Within a year, he's turned it around and is now generating a profit. From those origins becomes eventually the Pillsbury Company.
Oh, here we
The
go.
Pillsbury family.
Humble beginnings, as they say.
Quickly starts to kind of elbow out various competitors. And that elbowing out is not just through kind of shrewd business work or very sharp business minds. It's actually because of the access to investors. Washburn Crosby Enterprise, like Pillsbury, they are expanding into both national and then international markets.
The two actually compete against each other for the next 120 years. And these two companies were number one and number two flour companies in America.
Washburn was always looking for an edge and embraced innovators.
John Crosby joins Washburn along the way, and he was a very good miller. Crosby actually ran the business and probably should be given more credit for its success.
Another of Washburn's effective executives was millwright George Christian, who hired French millers to bring experimental European techniques to the mills.
As you mill wheat, it has very hard bran, it cracks, and some of that bran would get into the flour.
It had a lot of middlings in it, which is a byproduct of milling. They're hard kernels, and there would have been maybe some chaff in there. It would have been inconsistent.
Minneapolis millers need the latest and greatest technology to fully separate the germ and the bran from the endosperm and the kernel.
Oh, so this is where, like, I know that a lot of white bread removes a lot of the outer layers of the grains, and so because of how processed that it is, but I know that whole grain bread doesn't really do this, but
that is really at the core of what they're trying to do. If you can do that in an efficient way at a large scale in these factories that are going up on the banks of the Mississippi, you are going to beat your competitors.
Working in secret, they adapted a European system into what would be known as the middling purifier. This system sifted out the heavier parts of the wheat, allowing for a more pure white flour.
With the advent of
so this is where it comes
this
in.
industrial mill that Cadwallader Washburn built, he began sifting out the middlings and creating a whiter, lighter flour.
White flour had the bran and the germ almost completely removed. That was very difficult to do until the 1870s or 1880s.
Turkey red wheat has a really nice gluten.
Oh,
oil.
that looks
Gluten
really
is the
good.
muscle in bread, so it's very easy to work with. It makes a great bread. I mean, it was really pure white flour. That's what people wanted.
There's
Something that you guys should know is that I used to eat bread. I used to really like eating bread. Whenever we would go someplace that happened to have bread, yes, I would like to. I always ate a lot of the bread samples.
Discourse around purity in the 1880s and 1890s.
And probably no coincidence that I'm now a baker.
In the United States, we can talk about racial purity and social and cultural relationships. We can talk about purity in the food supply, the purity of the products being separated, simply because it is so white.
That was a weird segue.
The bran and the germ were removed from it were actually crucial if you're going to allow flour to be shipped to all these different parts of the world. In other words, to create a shelf-stable flour product, you had to remove the bran and the germ because those were the things that made flour go bad. And that's why so much flour making had been localized for centuries.
Now, there was some dispute at that time. Sylvester Graham, who is the father of the graham cracker, said, "You are putting asunder God put
graham
together, and you're
crackers,
damaging wheat. We need that whole grain to have a healthy product." So there was some debate about whether or not that kind of sifting made for a better flour, made for a whiter flour. We know that, and it made for a flour that was much easier for housewives to use.
With more and more updates and innovations to his mills, Washburn's profits went from 50 cents a barrel in 1871 to $4.50 in 1874. The milling industry spawned associated businesses, including barrel making, advertising, and even makers of artificial limbs, a blunt reminder of the peril.
We went from making bread to making artificial limbs.
Of working in these plants.
When they build a new A mill, it's actually 3 times the size of the first mill, which is Washburn's Folly. Pretty much the largest flour mill in the world at the time.
The expanding milling industry was rapidly changing Minneapolis. Just a few years after statehood, the village had a population of just under 6,000. By the 1880s, the city had grown over 20 times that number.
Damn.
But a great price was about to be paid for all the
When you can make a lot of food, then that can obviously support a higher population.
In Minneapolis's mill district.
One of the problems of milling, which is still a problem today, is that as you mill, flour dust could get into the air.
Oh, right. No, when I was first being trained at my job, the guy that was training me mentioned something called baker's lung, where constantly spraying like oil on pans and the flour gets everywhere. I haven't had to deal with that at all, but there might come a time if I'm still working there that it might just happen.
Quite explosive. Now, millers knew of this problem, but people hadn't built mills the size of Washburn's mill. More flour dust.
On May 2nd, 1878, the evening shift was underway at the Washburn Crosby Company, but danger was literally in the air in the A mill.
Somehow, a spark sets off flour dust.
Oh.
Absolutely catastrophic explosion. It's so big that not only is Washburn's mill destroyed, but 5 other mills nearby, levels essentially several city blocks. Windows rattled as far away as Stillwater.
Digging the debris. The ruins. 2 more bodies discovered. The bodies of Olshi? I don't know how you say that.
18 men lost their lives. There is a memorial to the workers at Lakewood Cemetery.
Aww.
In the midst of the ruins of the mill district was a recently arrived Viennese engineer. William Delabar would later describe the site of the explosion.
A memorable, sad sight. The ruins were smoldering and a crew of firemen were still on duty. Relic hunters were busy climbing over the debris. Visitors from near and far were daily arriving to obtain a view of the disaster.
William Delabar, who's this engineer from Vienna, who's hired by the Minneapolis Millers to improve the physical infrastructure of the falls area, but also, as an engineer, trying to think about how do we make better machinery.
Delabar had heard of the potential to pull flour out of the air using large exhaust fans, and he creates this system. It pulls flour dust out of the air into large socks that can be emptied and cleaned, and it creates a safer industry. And a similar mill explosion never happened.
All right.
Mill, it's actually
I'll always look forward to more innovations in order to make things safer. I mean, one of the things about the Industrial Revolution was that it was very, very dangerous. Lots of people had to lose their lives either due to like machine accidents or even like in the case that, well, technically the Panama Canal was like much later on, but even in something like that, this type of work can be very risky.
In commercial enterprise is Washburn's new mill.
And this was back when kids used to be able to work in these places.
He rebuilt in 1881.
Washburn had another assignment for the engineer.
Washburn was really fascinated by what was going on in Budapest because Hungarian wheat was the prime flour at that time.
Europeans were experimenting with steel rollers instead of the traditional millstones. These rollers allowed for a more efficient fine grind, and unlike stones, didn't need frequent cumbersome replacement.
He sent William Delabar over to Budapest.
And he engages in full-blown industrial espionage.
Why do I feel like why do I feel like I've seen something like that before? All right, let me put that. Apologies for anyone else who's watching. Let me look that up. Or let me type that in. Candy corn. So that way I'm reminded. Apologies for the not.
So he poses as a miller, gets a job.
And every night he would come back and sketch this roller mill.
Comes back and installs something like that, modifying it for Washburn's mill, and it's installed in his new mill in 1881. Washburn has these 2 innovations, one of which makes the industry safer, one of which makes it more efficient. He gathers his competitors at the Minneapolis Club, at the miller's table, and shares this technology with all of them.
This state-of-the-art structure on the Mississippi River effectively brought to an end 2,000 years of millstone, and, combined with the endless fields of wheat in western Minnesota and the awesome power of the St. Anthony Falls, made Minneapolis the milling capital of the world.
The creation of flour that you could actually just buy at the grocery store, this was the original convenience food.
We have to understand that producing bread flour at the scale the Minneapolis millers were producing at made it the first industrially produced and widespread carbohydrate in world history. And the creation of both a national and then an international market for that carbohydrate had profound effects on the ways in which people ate, not just in the region, not just in the city, but across the country and eventually in other parts of the world.
Okay, so where does the Pillsbury Doughboy come in?
Minneapolis not only becomes the center of milling, but the central kind of grain market.
Grain exchange.
So
like the stock exchange, but for grain.
It's taking that over from Chicago in the late 1880s and early
1990s.
I
see Kellogg in the background.
So then it becomes a marketing question. And who's going to market each other?
In 1880, the Washburn Crosby Company goes to the first International Millers Exposition in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they win the first ever gold medal. So they come back and they decide, rather
than giving out gold medals,
than continuing to sell superlative flour, which is what they called it at the time,
superlative.
We should rename it gold medal flour.
Sheet music was also something that was used to promote flour.
Really? They use... I mean, I know that people will use, like, I know that commercials have, like, jingles and stuff, but damn.
Electronic mass media was decades away, but the Minneapolis millers and their ad agencies found creative ways to promote their products.
The milling companies started publishing cookbooks in the 19th century, and the idea there was to sell more flour. So if they could give you recipes to bake a cake or...
No, yeah, selling recipes, obviously people still do that today, but yeah, that's...
Make bread a different way, they could sell you more flour. They do say in using recipes given in this book requiring flour, ask your grocer for and insist upon having that best of all flours, the celebrated gold medal.
So Benjamin Bull was the president. He was given a number of advertising ideas by the company, and each of them began with eventually. Well, Bull began to get a little impatient. It's like, eventually. He writes on a piece of paper, eventually, why not now? He crumples it up and throws it in the wastebasket. James Ford Bell, then a young executive with the company, pulls that crumpled piece of paper out of the wastebasket and urges Benjamin Bull to consider this slogan. So what it aspired to be was, eventually you'll have the best flour. Eventually you'll be able to give your family the very best. Why not now? It goes on to become one of the greatest ad slogans ever, perhaps the best one ever with a question mark. Pillsbury, they come up with what I think is a great competing slogan. They put it on a sign beaming across the river at General Mills, where they have the sign, eventually, why not now?
Eventually, why not now? That is not to be confused with got milk or hungry for apples.
Pillsbury puts up the sign because Pillsbury's best, answering General Mills' question.
The competition between the Minneapolis millers is a really important part of the story. But Minneapolis, even though it's growing, even though it hosts large political conventions, it's seen as kind of a center of settlement in what at the time was called the Northwest. It's got emerging culture.
Oh yeah, back when, yeah, they call it, they're trying to find the Northwest Corridor, as they say.
Friends from all over the world. Even though Minneapolis is all those things, it's actually a pretty small place, and all the major milling families know each other closely. In the boardrooms and in the mills during the day, they're competing with each other. They might look at each other askance when they're talking about pricing flour or trying to compete in markets, but then at night they're at the same social gatherings. They're at the Minneapolis Club together.
Oh yeah.
They're helping create institutions.
Yeah, they might be in competition with each other, but that doesn't mean they're not going to hang out with each other and play cards.
It's like the Minneapolis Institute of Arts. They see themselves literally as the fathers of Minneapolis, even though there are many in the city that would disagree with their intent.
I'm sure there are plenty that would disagree with each other on who the founders of their cities are.
They were thinking about their New England ideals relative to aesthetic theory, but also thinking about their social ideals. So let's build a beautiful park system to help make the city what it is today, and let's support the cultural institutions. They brought these values related to nature to Minnesota, but they also brought their values about capitalism and opportunity and how you can make money off of nature to Minnesota too. We moved from being in a more humble relationship to the river, where the river was bigger than we were, and we had to show it some respect, but we also didn't think we could hurt it. So in a sense, what happened at the falls was we outgrew the river, and we changed our relationship.
Father of the waters. Is that supposed to be Poseidon?
One of having to be respectful to thinking of the river as just another thing we owned and had to manage to make some money with. It became a useful industrial commodity for us. What they brought to this place was this sense of building a city on a hill, and they even brought these transcendental ideas about human relationships to nature, and then they just destroyed.
Of course, you got to have the transcendentalism in there.
Prairie and cut down the whole white pine forest.
Oh,
and they're
Lord.
doing some really bad things to the environment. They're having a really bad impact on a lot of Native people. They're not shy about
Yeah, it's like, it's an unfortunate reality when it comes to these kinds of things, like the whole concept of manifest destiny. I mean, sometimes there are some things that need to happen for the sake of progress, but sometimes it makes you wonder whether or not the cost is worth the risk.
flooding burial grounds, about displacing people. We always wrap that activity in just a sort of necessary evil to make way for progress. That's the core irony of all of this, that while we were coming with great high ideals to build Minneapolis, and they're coming with greedy intentions, and it's all combined together. You can't tease apart these elements of the story. They're all part of the same story.
Tensions across place and class are central to this story.
Oh.
Agriculture gets industrialized as the Industrial Revolution is evolving in the United States. That all of these things are connected together.
And so, in economic enterprises, you have competition. And who is going to make the money? What then is left for the farmer? That is an open question, and that is a pressing question in the 1880s, in 1890s, and early 1900s. And we see the rural-urban rivalry emerges. And you see farmers organizing in the 1880s and 1890s in Minnesota and in the Dakotas.
So the Grange, also known as the Patrons of Husbandry, was born in Minnesota at the Oliver Kelly farm in the years immediately after the Civil War. And there, farmers were exploring.
Why do I feel like I've heard that term, the Grange?
Ideas of collective organizing.
Along with Kelly and other farmers, the Grange founders also included Minnesota's enigmatic progressive leader, Ignatius Donnelly, who dramatically characterized the emerging tensions of the times.
People are demoralized. The newspapers are largely subsidized or muzzled. Public opinion silenced. Homes covered with mortgages, labor impoverished. The fruits of the toil of millions are badly stolen to build up colossal fortunes for a few, unprecedented in the history of mankind. From the same prolific womb of governmental injustice, we breed two great classes, tramps and millionaires.
Well, the Grange was the first formal organization of farmers, kind of an unusual
Oh, I'm thinking of some mathematical concept called the Lagrange theorem.
In that it was a society, a culture. It's not quite what we think of a labor union or even a modern farmer organization. The Grange worked hard to reduce railroad rates.
The shipping costs for farmers as they ship their wheat to places like Minneapolis are actually reduced so that farmers are able to keep more in their own pockets.
They tried to pressure the mill owners, the grain graders, the railroads, and made some progress. They made political progress, particularly by the 1890s. Would have done even better, I believe, but 1893, the panic of that year, the financial panic, set everyone back.
The farmers start creating local elevators, they build those into a network, they start building community around this notion of cooperation. And there's a strong sense of cooperative movements, a strong understanding of cooperation in many different parts of the upper Midwest and Northern Plains, and the creation of the Society of Equity in the early 1900s, and then the Equity Cooperative Exchange in the 19-teens really starts to bring those farmers together so that a farmer in western Minnesota might see a farmer in North Dakota or South Dakota and understand that they have something in common. And that if they work together economically, they can protect grain prices and ensure that more of it lands in their pocket.
And that idea of farmers organizing spread from Minnesota to North Dakota. And in North Dakota, it began in the late 19th century to take on a more political cast. As farmers began to organize, they thought, let's make a pro-farmer league. And they called that the Nonpartisan League.
If all else fails, just call it nonpartisan. I wish I could comment more on this. I'm having a lot of trouble making this transformative.
We don't care if you're Republican or Democrat or Socialist. We don't care if you're for the farmer.
They care whether or not you support their platform. And that
Can't say the same thing about what happened in South Africa not too long ago.
Very quickly catapults them into power in North Dakota.
They were very radical for their period. They were intent on sort of toppling the economic establishment, which was, of course, the business interests of Minneapolis.
They win the election, and they immediately create the state bank in North Dakota to create a new institution that can support farmers.
The Nonpartisan League are a major political player across the region. And of course, they're a deep-seated threat to the Minneapolis millers who try to counter these organized farmers in a whole host of ways.
They don't still exist today, do they?
Because they have been trying to counter organized labor in the mills themselves.
In 1903, despite the stern opposition of leaders of Pillsbury and Washburn-Crosby, virtually all the mill laborers walked out to demand reasonable wages and workdays. Despite the union's early success, the millers overwhelmed the strikers with a variety of tactics and their own organizing into what became a union against unions, called the Citizens Alliance.
Those employers...
A union against unions.
Began to band together to essentially create solidarity among employers. And they called it the Citizens Alliance to, as we would say, put lipstick on the pig.
Milling owners were very much in line with the Citizens Alliance. It really did whatever it could to thwart union organizing. So a great economy, a booming industry, but very difficult labor management relations.
So the Citizens Alliance really got them, a good deal of power locally, and it enabled them to be fighting in the court of public opinion. And that continued until the 1934 Minneapolis Teamster strike would really break that power.
That kind of concentrated economic power is starting to pay off with concentrated political power.
In 1903, as the millers were solidifying this power, a brilliant botanist and scientist from southeastern Minnesota was experimenting with a different kind of power that he would debut in the following year at the 1904 World's Fair.
Alexander P. Anderson is a fascinating human being. From a farmer, and he was a reluctant farmer, to a scholar. He was the man who invented cold cereal and a founder of the modern American
There's a cold cereal, huh?
breakfast.
Well, my grandfather was a first-generation American of Swedish ancestry, and he was born in a dugout in virtual poverty, and they lived in the dugout for a few...
So, no, this just gave me freaking Norse Viking vibes.
Winters, and then built a second home.
Anderson always was interested in books and reading, and he was an excellent student. He was educated in a one-room school. He passed the teacher exam. So besides farming, when he was like 18 and 19, he taught in one-room schools for a number of years. But circumstances kept him on the farm. Mainly, he was the one child who seemed to be the one who would have to run the family farm for dad and mom and keep them alive.
At the age of 28, he went on to the University of Minnesota, and from there went to the University of Munich in Germany. Up until the age of 28, the farthest he had ever gone from the homestead was to Red Wing, which was about 6 to 7 miles away, and was virtually an all-day trip by buggy. So his world was very, very small. And all of a sudden, within just a few years, his world widened out considerably.
His breakthrough came because of his studies in Munich and the idea that such things as wheat and rice, at their fundamental level, have a microscopic bit of water, free water inside them.
Well, I'm pretty sure you could say that about most plant seeds and stuff.
Fascinated by that idea and what would happen if you could free that water, if it indeed existed.
Oh, I think I see where this is
moved about
going.
to different academic settings, including a stint at the prestigious New York Botanical Gardens.
And that's where he made his critical discoveries, the revolutionary discoveries of A.P. Anderson.
He put some rice grains into a test tube, and then turned that test tube into a vacuum. Heated the test tube to a particular degree, and then cracked the glass, and the small bit of moisture that's in the rice grain turned to steam.
Oh.
And that led to an explosion. There was rice all over. It blew up in the air, around him and came down like snow.
And it expanded the rice grain.
Wait, is this the origin of Rice Krispies?
Considerably. And he says it came out very puffy and what he calls silky.
And the first thing that occurred to him is this can be the new bread, the modern bread. And even feeding the rice to his infant son to see what he thought about it, he said he'd ate all the puffed rice we could give him. There are test tubes that still exist with A.P. Anderson's handwriting labeling them.
Oh, that's cool.
A.P. Anderson is a cousin to John Lind, who happens to be the governor of Minnesota. He just left office. Lind says, I will set up a meeting with Minneapolis industrialists, money people, and you can demonstrate it.
Minneapolis business leaders supported Anderson's research financially, but didn't seem to know what to do with it other than control it. They were bought out by the Quaker Company, who also moved slow.
Oh, Quaker Oats.
On utilizing the puffing process.
They can't figure out what to do with it.
Is that the origin of Quaker Oats? Because he said that he was doing experiments with rice, which made me think of Rice Krispies.
But they don't want anyone else to have it. So he forces their hand. Alex says, I'm going to go to the 1904 World's Fair at St. Louis, the Meet Me in St. Louis World's Fair, and I'm going to put on a display. And there is where he comes out with his artillery. The first time you see the cannons referred to.
The cannons.
So he invites people to come and watch the miracle of the exploding rice. They had this big 2-story net that would catch the rice as it came blasting out, showered in the air. People cheered, laughed, and then they would sell the puffed product to people for a nickel a bag. They exploded 20,000 pounds of rice, and it was very enlightening, shall we say, to the Quaker people who saw, we've got something here. They thought it might be a confection, something we add sugar to and sell it as a candy.
Oh, here we go. Is that where it comes
then
in?
Then it occurred to Anderson that perhaps a cereal product would be better. Quaker sees a bigger market. Some ad man came up with the idea of food shot from guns, which is still used today.
Food shot from guns. Is that... I mean, I've heard of, like, potato launchers and stuff like that, but...
Out of the professor's cannon came a glorious discovery. Quaker puffed rice and puffed wheat.
Oh, here we go.
Cereals shot from guns. Today in...
How long have they used the Quaker guy? Apparently his name is Larry, although there's this very secret section of the internet that calls him the Quaker Queer.
In the Quaker gun room, we still use the professor's discovery. To release all the flavor of whole grain rice, we blow it up 16 times by shooting it from guns.
So food shot from guns has now developed into a national phenomenon.
Puffed rice.
And becomes the first really modern cold cereal. He's a professor, he's a doctor. He's going to tell you this is good for you. His picture is there.
You see, I'm a doctor, as far as you know.
He's a very stately, good-looking gentleman, so he's a good spokesperson. The acceptance of the puffed cereals nationwide was a new phenomenon.
I didn't know there was a cartoon for it.
It was looked upon as a very healthy cereal. And I do think that it was
I can
America's
imagine.
first fast food.
I mean, rice has more calories than wheat, so... But this is puffed wheat in particular, and says Shirley Temple.
Now a success, A.P. Anderson and his family returned to their home near Red Wing. Anderson constructed a state-of-the-art farm and lab he called Tower View, reclaiming the homestead of his immigrant parents.
After he left the farm was lost. The mortgage was called, and he made it his business to get the farm redeemed and then expand around the farm. He and his family put scholarships in place wherever he had worked, in Clemson and New York and the university, and he continued his work.
And it is truly a quintessentially American story, a person born in a dugout, and 35 years later, he has reshaped the way the entire country eats breakfast. It's a truly remarkable and probable story.
I mean, no, we were talking about something like, I think it was yesterday, within the context of the candy capital, then someone in chat mentioned that we can't really do this in America anymore.
Professor Anderson reset America's breakfast table with his cold cereal innovation. Hot cereal from the North was another change to how we ate. In 1893, North Dakota millers packaged unground farina as a healthy breakfast porridge.
Cream of wheat, huh?
Called cream of wheat.
You see, in Drake and Josh, Josh wanted the oatmeal. But no, he asked for the cream of wheat.
When he relocated to Minneapolis to join the food business establishment in the Twin Cities. Cream of wheat is an early example of a transition away from simple flour and into new products. The importance of diversifying and new business strategies was a growing concern and would determine who would ultimately win the generational race between Pillsbury and Washburn-Crosby.
Flour prices are down, flour consumption is down. The thing they built an empire around, an economic empire, is starting to decline.
It's important to note is that none of the great flour milling companies are really left. It was very important to develop new products to get closer to the consumer.
And who's going to have the better business strategies? And understanding the changing economic landscape becomes really important. What's interesting is that Washburn-Crosby's leadership sees that, where it's not clear that Pillsbury's leadership sees that. And that's another thing that will kind of emerge as a difference as both companies move ahead in the years to come. But the biggest issue that's faced by the Minneapolis millers is the loss of their power monopoly. That had always been the foundation of their financial power, their economic power, their social power, their political power, even their cultural power in shaping Minneapolis and Minnesota more broadly, was the actual power of falling water and harnessing that. By the late 19 teens, you don't need mechanical energy in that same way because you can produce it through coal or other fossil fuels, which means you can have flour mills anywhere. So in the face of these intersecting crises, the Minneapolis millers are trying to figure out what to do.
The challenges of the new century were to be faced by new leadership, as both Cadwallader Washburn and Charles Pillsbury had passed away. The next generation of executives from these families were taking the helm, but the changes in the milling and food industry would be met by a different kind of leader.
James Ford Bell graduates in the early 1900s from the University of Minnesota with a degree in chemistry. Now he's going to go on to be one of the state's most important business leaders ever. He's a chemistry major. And that means he has a certain commitment to knowledge making, to research and development.
James Ford Bell is a person who develops from the ground up, living in the industry, great insights into milling flour.
He's being groomed to take over Washburn-Crosby, and he moves from the ranks of junior executive into senior executive.
Bell's vision and innovation would be needed to meet yet another challenge facing the milling industry, the very product it was built on.
White bread flour is starting to be seen as the enemy.
Oh.
There's kind of an outbreak of digestive trouble in America.
Oh, is this where, like, freaking cellulose is like wood? It's in wheat. It should be milled out, but generally isn't.
Teens and early 1920s. There have been a group of health reformers who've been calling for more fiber in diets.
Oh. People have been calling for more fiber in diets for... They're still doing it to this day. And then, if anyone knows about what wheat gluten does, if you've seen that one South Park episode...
takes off in the early 1900s because it's seen as a way to introduce fiber into the American diet. And the flour millers are making flour. They're making bread flour. They're seen now as part of the problem. So the question for them is how can they reinvent themselves in order to cater to these changing consumer tastes? And James Ford Bell keeps saying we've got to do business differently. He's able to convince the Washburn-Crosby leadership that, in fact, they need to start investing in other products. And one of the first products that Washburn-Crosby goes to work on is a cold breakfast cereal. And after a couple years of work, engineers come up with a product that will eventually become known as Wheaties. It's the first non-flour product that's created by Washburn-Crosby.
Wheaties is born. But originally, it's Washburn-Crosby's wheat flakes.
Oh, wheat flakes.
And it's not selling very well.
Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of corn flakes. No, I do know the story of how corn flakes were invented.
It's actually a failing product. And there is a point at which The board decides, and James Ward Bell, then the CEO of the company, that we should kill this product because it's not going to succeed. And Sam Gale, then the head of marketing, stands up at that moment and he goes, but it is succeeding in the markets where we're using the radio to advertise.
The radio.
In an effort to understand itself as a merchandising company as much as a food manufacturer, buys a radio station in Minneapolis.
The first radio station in the region.
They rebrand that radio station as Washburn Crosby Company, WCCO, and start using it to advertise.
Okay.
And they create a jingle for this barbershop quartet to sing.
And it's always a barbershop quartet.
Promoting Wheaties on Christmas Eve, 1926.
Have you tried Wheaties?
And that's actually the first commercial radio jingle in world history.
Is it? Damn.
For wheat is the best food of man. They're crispy and crunchy the whole year through.
It had never been done before.
So this is the first ever jingle that's ever existed.
And neither will you, so just buy Wheaties, the best breakfast food in the land.
And sales in the listening area go up almost immediately. So within a year or two, Washburn Crosby executives figure out that this radio advertising for this new cold breakfast cereal is the way to take over a bigger portion of the cold cereal market. Expand that radio advertising and the use of this jingle nationally.
The difficulty is if you're going to have the jingle, you have to actually bring in the 4 singers to actually sing the song. And they brought in the singers in various places, Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, etc.
Oh, they had to get them from other places, huh?
These takes off, it becomes a success.
They're whole wheat with all of the brand.
It's whole wheat with all of the brand, is what the jingle says.
All the
And
brand.
Whole wheat with all the brand is the exact opposite of the product that they had been marketing and selling for decades.
Bran flakes. Great new taste. Bran flakes.
But it's the product that America is most interested in. And that allows...
What a nice cereal box.
James Ford Bell to further make his case that, in fact, this is the future for his company, Washburn Crosby.
Bell's maneuvering and mergers continued.
James Ford Bell says, let's consolidate, but let's consolidate strategically by essentially bringing in our competitors. Let's turn our enemies into our friends.
This growing national standing was reflected in a new name.
And they create this new company called General Mills, and suddenly General Mills has a national footprint. Radio across the United States has taken off by the early 1930s as the primary mass media, and by the early 1930s, General Mills is sponsoring full-blown scripted radio programs like Jack Armstrong, which is very popular with kids.
We create the first ever soap opera.
There's no way that the first ever soap opera was created for the sake of selling cereal.
Radio. It was sponsored by Bisquick, and it was called Betty and Bob.
Betty and Bob, brought to you by General Mills.
And it ran for years. If we had stuck with it, instead of being soap operas, perhaps we'd be calling them baking mix operas today. We
Baking mix operas? No, that's crazy.
Very first.
The advertising that General Mills engages in the 1930s that becomes more and more sophisticated actually is the source of modern sports broadcasting, and they start using Wheaties to
Oh, so they got their hands in deep in all sorts of things.
sponsor Major League Baseball broadcasts.
That's what I mean, the spark of a champion. Wheaties man Ralph Piner in action.
Someone a sketch
Of
on a piece
course.
of paper, box of Wheaties, Wheaties, the breakfast of champions. That becomes the sign we put up where the Minneapolis
Breakfast of
Millers play.
champs.
Boy, I get to watch lots of champs. And you know what sparks a champion? Sparks you. And champions choose Wheaties.
So it's the domination of the airwaves, and in particular sports broadcasting. That's the way that they ensure a healthy future and grow into that
Yeah,
future.
you always have to. Advertising is very important if you have a product that you want to sell.
Breakfast of champions.
General Mills in the 1930s will be one of the very few large corporations in America that has a quarterly profit consistently through the very difficult years of the Great Depression. Cold breakfast cereal is not a high-end product. It's a product that more and more people are turning to as a way to get a nutritious, energy-filled, as the advertising copy often said, breakfast.
So Wheaties are...
But nowadays, you take a look at some of General Mills' cereals today, and then they're mostly sugar.
Our first cereal in 1924.
Kix cereal. That's 19.
Oh, Kix. That reminded me of the Family Guy cutaway gag where it's like, Peter's eating Kix really fast, and it's like, it's really good. And then Lois says that it's good for you. And then Peter pushes it off the table because he doesn't want he doesn't want cereal that's good for you.
Okay. And another cold breakfast cereal called Cheery Oats.
Oh, okay. Now we're getting somewhere.
Quickly changed to Cheerios in the early 1940s.
Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim, full of whole wheat energy in every flake. Is Wheaties.
Just as the Millers changed how we ate, their marketing changed popular culture.
Lone Ranger mystery adventures on the backs of General Mills cereal.
And this is where like cereal toys and stuff comes in.
The Lone Ranger created the shows.
Cowboy
The Lone Ranger.
You Wheaties? You bet your boots I do. Folks all over the country are eating their Wheaties and doing okay.
Whether it's baseball, football, basketball, or crew, what sparks the champion? Spark you.
For the powerful Cheerios.
One of the Big G cereals from General Mills.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole kernel of wheat in every Wheaties flake.
And I'll give you some new Frostio.
Frostios. No, how many times have they made these? And no, they have like different. Even these days, they have like different variations of Cheerios, and they still have like frosted ones, I think.
Beloved mascots, celebrities, and animated pitch people was a fictitious food
Okay.
name who was also made up, but made a lasting impact.
Hello, I'm Betty Crocker. I guess every
Oh, Betty Crocker.
So Betty
huh?
Crocker is a customer service story at the very beginning. It was genius stroke to decide that it should be signed by a woman, and her name became Betty Crocker. Crocker named after one of our favorite directors at the time, Betty because it sounded friendly.
Oh, so it's not even her real name.
The women in the consumer services group all submitted a signature. One of those signatures was chosen, and it's still the logo for Betty Crocker today.
You don't have to be an expert when you use my cake mix.
And within 21 years...
I see. No. I remember over the years seeing Betty Crocker get into a bunch of controversies, though.
She's the second
so it makes
best
you
known woman in
wonder.
America, second only to Eleanor Roosevelt. She got 5,000 letters a day and multiple proposals of marriage.
Staff had already given years of service to homemakers, and the idea was born that cakes could be made easier and better.
Many have worked to create the presence of Betty Crocker, including a food pioneer who had long imagined herself in this role.
When I was 14, I got my first Betty Crocker's cookbook.
Aww.
And I saw the pictures of the women, the home economists working in the kitchens, in the test kitchens, and I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be Betty Crocker. It's my dream job. I've always wanted to be Betty Crocker.
I'm sure plenty of people can relate to always wanting to be some famous person.
I went through my training and learned the Betty Crocker way, and I worked on many products.
I didn't know that there was a Betty Crocker kitchen.
During my tenure at General Mills. I think my first assignment was on Hamburger Helper, and they were just starting
they do make Hamburger Helper.
to develop it.
By the time
Damn.
you get to a product like Hamburger Helper, she's helping you make a quick meal for your family, one pan, one skillet, one meal. And that's the role Betty plays, not just in cookbooks, not just in advice, but also in the creation of products, particularly convenient foods.
When they did the new portrait of Betty Crocker on the 75th anniversary,
No.
they called me to be on the panel of judges. They took essays from women across the country, and they took these letters saying why they thought they personified Betty Crocker. And we looked at all these letters. We didn't know who people were. We just read their letters, and we decided which ones were the best. Well, it turned out that they had a mixed group of women that were the winners. They were of all ages, of all ethnic groups, and married and single, and they were wonderful. So they took these women that were the winners, and they took photographs of them, and then they digitally merged all those photographs into one person, and then had somebody pay.
Oh, freaking long. No, this was freaking almost 100 years before the development of AI. No, that's crazy. And they were doing this kind of stuff back then.
The portrait.
That is the current portrait of Betty, the one we're still using. And that Betty looks a bit more like all of America, and a little less like she might have been only from Minnesota.
She looks like the quintessential American woman.
I think the Betty Crocker's
sorry.
persona is a person who, A, knows what she's doing, B, loves to cook, C, is kind of maternal and friendly and will listen to your problems.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be that kind of a person. And so I thought, I'm Betty Crocker.
I'm Betty Crocker now.
Betty Crocker was joined by another fictional kitchen confidant named Anne Pillsbury. She never caught on like her rival across the river, but the Pillsbury Bake Off did transcend its marketing origins to become an American tradition.
Did they have a bake-off? I don't ever remember this happening. Maybe that was just back then and a once-only thing.
Kitchen experimenters of all ages and backgrounds, even a handful of men.
Through the second half of the 20th century, the two major Millers had evolved into global corporate entities whose holdings included a wide range of food products
Bakos from Betty Crocker Kitchens.
and much more.
The companies become holding companies with many companies underneath, launching things like Play-Doh, Clue, the Nerf ball.
Did they actually make all of this stuff?
We also had fashion companies like...
And even famous restaurants and stuff.
Talbot's and Eddie Bauer. Pillsbury will develop products like cake mix, eventually refrigerated dough, which brings us the Doughboy.
Oh, there we go.
Created and launched by Pillsbury.
No way that they've been made Burger King.
Pillsbury buys the Minnesota Valley Canning Company. That actually dates to 1907 in Le Sueur, Minnesota. They create the Green Giant.
The
they
Green
buy
Giant.
Totino's Pizza. They're the #1 selling pizza by volume in America.
Oh.
And that's based on Rose Totino and her restaurant right here in North Minneapolis.
Shit,
all of these
that's
things get
crazy.
connected through the roll-up of companies like...
No, you'd be surprised by how many like restaurants and store brands are all owned, that are all a part of like the same multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. You'd be surprised. Things that restaurants and stuff that look like that they should have nothing to do with each other. Like I know that Pizza Hut and Taco Bell are both owned by the same company called Yum Brands.
Pillsbury or General Mills. They competed aggressively across the river from each other for 100 years. Now they're together under one umbrella underneath of General Mills.
The city is still one of the world's flour capitals and home for big-name milling companies. The cultural desires of these people have built fine museums and good libraries.
Just as their profits were growing, the Millers' giving continued to grow and shape Minnesota throughout the 20th century.
Minnesota's a philanthropic powerhouse. I think for each of those families, they've been a part of the philanthropic infrastructure of the state for a number of years, but also an even more critical part of the civic infrastructure. Philanthropy is important here. It is an expectation that you give both your time and personal and organizational resources. I think those milling families were an important part of that strategy.
These things are connected. The mills created Minneapolis.
Here is the world's largest cash grain market and all the enterprises and institutions necessary for the business of the region.
This dominion over food and industry also raises a number of questions.
So if we think about the flour milling industry in Minneapolis as the first place where industrial carbohydrates were created, as a place where they were sustained, and then, of course, they were modified in the 20s and 30s and 40s. According to some reformers and health professionals, carbohydrates are the bane of the American diet. Carbohydrates are the source of obesity and diabetes and a host of health problems that cost the United States billions of dollars in healthcare.
No kidding. No. Yep. They own Arby's, Baskin, Wild Wings, John. No, that's another thing. No, you'd be surprised by how many of these companies are all part of the same umbrella. But regarding what they just said, no. One of the biggest factors in terms of like weight gain, it's carbs. Carbs are the primary cause of weight gain when you eat a lot of sweets and bread products and stuff, and sugary sodas especially.
Issues every year. So the stakes are really high when we're talking about industrial carbohydrates. And yet we don't think about the intricate relationships and networks that have been built over time that shape the ways we imagine food, the ways we consume food, as well as the actual food products themselves. History is about asking questions about the world and trying to figure out how things came to be.
Right.
And there's nothing more human than looking out into the world and asking the question why. Why is that there?
Why
did that turn out the way it did?
People all over the world knew about Minneapolis because the flour in their kitchens came in a bag that said Minneapolis right on it.
So that reminds me of some field trips that we took in, I don't know, we've never been to a place like this, though.
Okay. Minneapolis in the city that it became.
Don't fall. That's a nice
It's a
view.
complicated story.
Or at least it's
what
an
it meant to
interesting
the owners
view.
and the workers and the farmers, but it's also illuminating to the whole nature of Minnesota. It really tells us a lot about who we are today.
Okay, no, that was apologies that I couldn't really commentate too much on this, but I will be right back, and then we're gonna, if Whippy is still in chat, we're gonna look at candy corn real quick, but be right back. All right, I'm back. Hold on. Let me All right. No worries, Jackal. If it's only you don't have a charger with you here, I need to fix something real quick. All right. But what was your suggestion, H? I don't think I ever recall writing it down. Uh-oh. Well, Jackal, if you gotta go because of your battery, okay. If you can find a way to plug it in real quick, we still gotta. But if you're unable to continue with us, it's all good. But H, what was the one that you suggested? Let me look at the what's it? Is there a space in that, or is it just one name? Wait, is this the person that you're talking about, Whippy? Homestuck? Or am I spelling it wrong? Oh, I thought you... Okay, alright. I thought you were just making a general statement earlier. Okay, alright. I think I remember seeing that a few times, but... Whippy, is this the person that you're talking about, or am I thinking of someone else? That is, if you're even in the chat right now. If Whippy's not in the chat, we can look up that one. Let me... Here, give me one moment. If Whippy comes back, then we'll try to go. I'm guessing it's this video by Stanzy. I think I may have seen this show up at least at some point, but let me do some quick analyses of the... I'm assuming it's this one. So this is a suggestion by one of the chatters if this is a standalone video.
Good morning.
Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. Yeah, all right. This is the correct one. Let's go ahead and check this out. This is a video that someone suggested, and let's go ahead and see what's going on here.
We gathered here today to say goodbye to a man who was loved by some, allegedly, and who was taken from us far too soon. Depending on who you ask, it's honestly kind of a mixed bag, but what is life, if not a mixed bag? Full of the finest treasures humanity has to offer, and some that are just okay, I guess, and others that really suck, actually. But it doesn't matter what you thought about Charlie and who he was as a person, because one thing is for sure, which is that he is in a place now. I just want to end this by saying I also do children's parties and bachelorettes, and I also accept tips on Venmo, and I think that is what Charlie would have wanted. Amen. Hell.
That was an interesting intro.
Hello. Welcome back. My name is Dante Potenza, and let's get this over with, shall we? As I'm sure all of you have heard by now, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. No, but seriously.
Okay.
Unless your name is Leah Michelle, you probably read the title of today's video and understand what we're going to be covering, but first, let's get some disclaimers out of the way. This is a very divisive topic, obviously. There's a lot of hostility circulating. I too sat on whether or not I would be making videos about this topic, but as you all know, I chose violence, as I often do, and as I have always done since the birth of my social media career. Since I created my TikTok account 6 years ago and started making my Heaven and Hell videos, it became a reoccurring theme that anytime someone shitty in the world dies, my comments get flooded with people asking me if I'm going to make a Heaven and Hell video about them, and I try to always make that happen. I did one when Rush Limbaugh died in 2021. I did one when O.J. Simpson died, and there are a lot more on the wait list, and I know we are all eagerly awaiting. This has always been a part of my brand. I have a dark sense of humor, and I like fucked up jokes. And whether you like my jokes or not, I've never said anything worse than anything a successful male comedian has said. So it is your right to unfollow me or block me, but it's also my right to not give a fuck. So just keep that in mind moving forward. Before you go on a mission to find out who my boss is so you can get me fired from my job, I am my boss, you fucking dodo bird. And as my boss, I'm telling you that everything my employee says and does is super chill and awesome, and they're also very attractive, and they got a great rack, and they're employee of the month forever. So please spare me the pearl clutching. My heart is not going to grow 3 sizes on this day, and if I get visited by 3 ghosts tonight, I'm going to tell them to suck my fucking dick before popping a melatonin. And I'm not telling you to not tussle in my comments. By all means, I'm getting paid regardless, but if you're gonna wait on a ukulele apology for me, my only message is fuck you, fuck your mother, fuck
where is this video going, H?
your father, fuck your sister, your brother, your uncle. Alright, now let's actually jump into this, shall we? Unless you live under a rock, or perhaps you are an active member of Jared Leto's cult, you've probably heard that conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at an event he was hosting at Utah Valley University. You win this round, Mormons. Not only was he shot and killed, he was shot and killed very publicly, and the rather graphic video of him being shot had started making the rounds on social media, sparking a lot of outrage. And many of the reactions to his death were quite predictable. There's been a lot of finger-pointing on both ends of the political spectrum.
Yeah,
there's been an outpouring of support from Republicans, Democrats, celebrities, the person you went to high school with who had nothing to say about the ongoing genocide in Gaza, or perhaps even cheered for it. And if you hated AI before, get a load of this cinema they're pumping onto Facebook.
Oh, that actually reminds me of a video that I wanted to show, but I watched it on my own, so it wouldn't even be a proper reaction. What?
That's actually just a sneak preview of what they're going to use to replace Jimmy Kimmel's Late Night Show. We'll get into that one a little bit later. I didn't realize how much Charlie Kirk AI I was going to be force-fed on social media this week. They're using Charlie Kirk AI videos in the megachurches now.
First, I want you to know...
Oh, yeah, I saw this on a video by someone named Misha Petrov, who I only know about from something that Metatron showed on a live stream regarding, quote-unquote, the alt-right according to Reddit.
I'm fine. Not because my body is fine, but because my soul is secure in Christ. Death is not the end. It's a promotion. Don't waste 1 second mourning me.
Because why not combine religious psychosis with AI psychosis? There are those on the left who climb to top the moral high ground and declare that violence is never the answer. And perhaps we didn't agree with Charlie's words, but he was still a human being.
Yeah. Welcome back, Daniel. This was Aisha's recommended video, and I don't know where this is even going.
And deserves empathy, a term that he himself believed was made up. Dean Withers, a liberal commentator who gained popularity over the past year because of his debate with Charlie Kirk, went viral on TikTok a couple of weeks ago when he cried over Charlie Kirk's death on a live stream and condemned anyone that celebrated it.
If you celebrate this, if you don't condemn it, if you're happy, there's a clear line between me and you now. You are not a fan. I do not support you, and I do not want you to support me.
Yeehaw, cowboy.
And this is the guy who, crashed out over calling an anxiety pen a vape pen and threatened to call CPS on someone.
Who does this newborn baby think he is, scolding his audience like a parent? He's not even old enough to drink. This is an issue I have with so many people on the left, mainly liberals. Because they care more about being the good guy. They care more about looking morally superior than they do about the things they supposedly advocate for. Charlie Kirk spent his entire career saying that black people were stealing jobs from white people. He said that abortion was worse than the Holocaust. He made a joke about Gaza being bombed and followed it up with stupid Muslims. And that's just to name a few. I mean, truly, we're supposed to...
Aisha, I don't think I like where this video is going.
Mourn this man?
Let's try to have enough warts. I don't know. This was something. I don't think I like the direction that this video was going. No offense, but I'm just saying.
Do you want us to have a moment of silence? Oh, okay, no, if that's what you want. Let's roll the in memoriam.
Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder. I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. That's not a war on drugs, that's a culture problem. Why are so many blacks committing murders outside of their population?
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other guys.
This is my other problem with that penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals. It should be public, it should be quick, it should be televised. I would totally tune in to see someone get their head chopped off. And you know what? I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. I want to see him on a public block and get him be publicly executed.
Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. They're less murderous, less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil. But what
a certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day.
Hey, if you as a gay person would go to Gaza, they'd throw you off of tall buildings, right? Now they don't have any tall buildings left, so I don't... Is that too soon? I'm sorry. Maybe you shouldn't kill Jews, stupid Muslims.
Why are any of the people who were targeted by him expected?
I need to... apologies, Aisha. I don't think I want to watch the rest of this video. This just feels... I don't think I can I can't... I'm sorry. I can't do this. No. I hope you're not too upset. No, I don't want to... Not only 8 minutes in, and I don't think I can finish this video. I'm so sorry. If you have something that's less... If Daniel, if you have something that's a little less like that... Oh, I see a Geography Now video that we can look at about extreme borders that he's visited. I'm sorry, I can't watch this. I just can't. We can do... unfortunately, I think Jackal had to leave because his phone was about to die. We could probably watch this for him. Thank you so much for your understanding. I know... I just can't. This just seems... I appreciate you, alright? I appreciate you guys, honestly, that you guys are very understanding. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I just can't. As someone who... I'm sorry. Here, let's go ahead and just look at this. This is the second part to the one video that we watched about CEDs. I definitely enjoyed the first part, and now we can watch the... It's okay, Daniel, but if you have a video suggestion, we can watch it after this, but I don't want to look at... I'm sorry. Here, let's go ahead and check this out. Select division. And here we go, the glitchiness. Oh, thank you for the tier 1, Silas. Thank you so much.
Yeah, things didn't quite go as planned.
Oh yeah, in the previous video, we were talking about the very beginnings of these type of vinyl discs called CEDs, which were meant to be like similar to DVDs, but unfortunately they didn't really get too far off the ground.
Welcome to part 2 of our exploration into the
All right, good night,
RCA's very strange yet still somehow marketed video disc system, which effectively used vinyl records to store up to 2 hours of video. We went over its history and a bit of the context surrounding why RCA was bothering to do this in part 1, so if you haven't seen that, you may want to consider clicking that clicky thing up there. Anyway, let's get
yes, we already, or at least I think that's what we looked at. Oh, here we go. Oh. Okay, when all those fails hit the device.
We'll begin by taking a closer look at this player, as well as the device that RCA thought was too complicated to manufacture, despite the fact that they were selling them already. On a fundamental level, the RCA video disc player is merely a record player. It has a bit of a funky pickup as well as an automated tone arm, if you will, but it's still just a spinning disc with a needle tracking a spiral groove. An insanely tiny groove on an insanely delicate disc, but with the engineering complexities devoted to the disc manufacturing process,
the copyright
player, it was thought that it could have perhaps might have been maybe a good idea, maybe possibly. As a matter of fact, in an early demonstration of the system, Richard Sonnenfeld, the vice president of video disc operations, put it simply: our philosophy is to put a simple, low-cost, easily serviced player in the home and to keep the space-age technology in the factory.
Hold on, let me check something real quick. All right, that's good enough.
And that's exactly how it panned out. These discs are marvels of precision manufacturing, but the players are mainly just a bunch of off-the-shelf parts. The most complicated bit of the player is how it manages fine tracking control. I briefly showed you the visual search function and explained that an electromagnet can move the stylus with fine control, but I didn't really explore that at all, and I should, because it is admittedly impressive. Look in the stylus compartment.
Oh yeah, we were looking at this in the previous video. Oh, the violence of technology. Not good, bad fellows. I see.
You'll see this pair of little coils. These are controlled by the player's electronics in order to move the stylus, either to get it out of a locked groove situation,
Hello,
or
Julius.
to advance or retreat across the disc surface for visual search. You'll also see this little solenoid, which can lift the stylus off the surface of the record. And it does a surprisingly good job. With a disc in good condition, the visual search is very fluid, strikingly so. Way better than any VCR ever managed.
Thank you,
and
Julius.
practically as good as the butter smooth search of a CAV laserdisc. The only thing you'll occasionally notice is some screen tearing, since there are multiple frames encoded with each rotation of the disc. But since the concept of screen tearing was, I'm pretty sure, not even a recognized phenomenon in 1980.
My day was pretty good. Thanks for
I
asking.
believe the reason it works so well is precisely because the discs have the synchronization signals hard-coded onto them, and their speed is constant. Even if the stylus skips into the next track mid-frame, it doesn't interrupt the video signal at all, because each adjacent track is exactly 4 frames ahead or behind, down to the precise location on the scan line. So even though it lacks the fine control of a laser optical system, the effect is exactly the same. That's pretty much the only impressive thing about how the player works, though. Everything else is cost-optimized as far as possible. Were you looking for a composite video output? Nope, too expensive. You get RF out only, suckers. As
Only RF.
Before, the turntable motor is
I don't know how all of that works, so I can't really comment on it.
The bog standard AC motor and drives it with a belt. Though I should note that later models had a direct drive turntable that could stop itself in a defined position to allow for a fancier disc loading operation. But more on that later. My favorite cost cut has to do with the mechanism which moves the stylus carriage. Notice how the function lever engages this felt clutch. When the lever is in the load position, the mechanism which moves the carriage is entirely disengaged. Why? Well, because they used the action of you inserting the caddy to move the carriage back to the start point. It's a little violent. It's just so inelegant. Just wham! You can, with conscious effort, make this not quite as bad.
Oh, they don't exist anymore? I didn't know about that.
Bad if you slowly insert the caddy, but I mean, who was going to bother with that?
Do we still make Blu-rays though?
I will say though that if for some reason you are using one of these machines daily, you should probably make that effort. So anyway, once the stylus has been belligerently put back in its place and you move the lever to play, the clutch re-engages and now the player has control over where the stylus lands. And the first thing it does is bump the carriage forward to hopefully find the start of the disc. Oh, and since I haven't yet mentioned it, the disc is read from the outside in, like a normal record, and not from the inside out, like this is in the vast majority, if not all, of its optical disc offspring.
I wish I knew how discs worked in terms of like making games and movies and stuff.
From here, the player just monitors the track signaling to be on the lookout for problems. If the user doesn't press any buttons, it's just going to bump the pickup forward every once in a while as the stylus tracks the disc. If it notices it's in a locked groove, it will try to get itself out by kicking the stylus forward with that electromagnet. Unfortunately, as these machines have aged, the felt clutch and the belt on its motor have worn to the point where the carriage itself can get stuck. And the player wasn't programmed with any way to
because the
rectify
belt
that.
is slipping.
This can create the appearance of a badly damaged disc, when in fact it's a problem with the player.
Oh.
To get out of this issue, you can use the rapid access buttons to move the carriage backwards, and then use visual search to get back to where you were. Now, that's a modern problem related to age, so I doubt it was an issue back in the day. And I want to point out that...
And when all those fails, just use a pencil in order to fix your little cassette discs and for your Walkman.
There is an optical encoder here that the player uses to monitor the carriage's movement, but apparently this is only used for the rapid access function, as it barely turns at all under normal operation. Shame they couldn't have made that a little more useful. You may have noticed that the player has a pause button. Well, instead of providing a freeze frame, that simply blanks the screen.
Yeah, Candy Corn. Was it that pink lady that I saw, is it like one name?
White screen, but that's the television doing that, not the player. Because there are 4 frames of video encoded with each rotation, it's impossible for the player to provide a real freeze frame without a frame buffer, and that would certainly not be possible cheaply in 1981. However, there was a mode called page mode, which would lock the stylus and force it to read the same 4 frames over and over again, and it can be activated on this player by holding both the forward and reverse visual search buttons. This mode, though not officially supported with this player, could be used for navigating more advanced interactive discs, but more on that later. Now, we've basically covered everything.
Okay, all right. I'll go back to it after this. I just didn't know if you were still in the chat or not.
Particularly advanced. It was trying to be a modified record player, and to that extent, it is.
You're good.
Now let's look at a VCR. This RCA VDT600 is a Mitsubishi.
If you're able to hold out for however long this will be.
Built model introduced in 1979. Removing the case reveals right away there's a lot more going on here. You've got your rotary video head drum, an erase head, an audio head, and a tracking pulse head. Movable tape guides are used to thread the tape around the drum. There's a capstan and pinch roller to move the tape across all these heads, which is done at 3 different speeds with this model. And there's a light bulb on a stick, which is used to detect when the tape has reached the end by shining a light through the cassette itself, through the clear tape leader, and out these holes on the side.
Oh, I was trying to pay I'm trying to pay attention to the video and chat at the same time, so we're learning about how a VHS works, or a VHS player works, huh?
VHS machines detect the end of the tape optically. That's the reason the ends of the tape are clear. But these really early ones use an incandescent light bulb for the light source rather than infrared LEDs of newer machines. All that stuff is just part of the tape transport. I haven't even mentioned the electronics which deal with the tape signals, how tracking is accomplished, the fact that the video heads are coupled through a rotary transformer, or the simple fact that the tape is being helically scanned. If you want to learn more about videotape technology, you can check out this much earlier video of mine. Much earlier video of mine.
Much earlier video. No, that's gonna sound like me right quick.
Anyway, now you can see why RCA thought the video disc might still make sense. This VCR is horrendously complicated compared to a CED player, and it also lacks some useful features like a real-time display or smooth visual search, with this particular VCR not having any sort of visual search.
No, I remember back when I had my sister and I had a TV that had like a built-in VHS thing, and when we would try to like rewind or fast forward, it usually actually depend.
Function at all. And these things were not cheap to manufacture. The precision required to make the head drum and transport was pushing the limits of mass production at the time, so these machines were sold for outlandish prices, with this particular unit likely retailing for about $1,250, close to $5,000 in today's money. Knowing that VCRs were outside the reach of many consumers, and also knowing about how difficult it must be to mass-produce pre-recorded tapes, RCA thought the CED would still have a meaningful place in the market. And they were kind of right for a while anyway. Remember, both the CED as well as the Laserdisc were pioneers in home video, as although the VCR would eventually become the device you'd watch the latest flicks on, at this point in time it was simply too expensive to use $20 blank cassettes, spend a couple hours recording onto them, and sell them for a reasonable price.
So you're just trying to... For selling 12 bootleg copies of Soul Plane, you're gonna get 2 weeks in prison.
Knew how home video would be received. Nobody would know until somebody tried. And you could argue RCA's experiment was the first successful attempt. Although MCA Discovision had gotten Laserdiscs out earlier, it never got too much traction. RCA seems to have done a better job with licensing content, and while their discs certainly haven't held up well over time, early Laserdiscs were plagued with issues and a lot of mistakes were made learning to manufacture them. To their credit, though RCA took their sweet time getting this product to market, they did at least iron out all the kinks and release something that actually worked well. In fact, those who bought the players really liked them. They liked them so much that...
It's no wonder the average purchaser of this player is also buying from 20 to 30 of these discs during the first year of ownership.
Yeah, you get a free disc with every purchase, but you have to actually buy the original thing.
That was surprising to RCA. In fact, they were selling about twice as many discs per household as they had expected. Their goal of having the system in 50% of American homes by the end of the decade was incredibly optimistic. But they did produce over 500,000 players, and with the help of other OEMs, a total of about 750,000 players were produced. Still, it was clear early on that things weren't going that well. Initially, they only sold about half as many players as anticipated, and the public at large seemed pretty apathetic. I mentioned in my video on Laserdisc that a large part of why it never really took off was that home video was an entirely new and completely foreign concept. On the other hand, a VCR, which could record shows while you're away, or which could record one show while you watch another, was a true problem solver. RCA seems to have had better success with convincing the public to take a leap of faith into the land of home video than Laserdisc did, but not nearly as much success as they needed. However, they didn't abandon the project right away. They did make some improvements. Notice how this disc has a blue caddy. In the CED ecosystem...
So the color of this matters?
Blue caddies usually mean the disc is in stereo, and later players were able to decode the stereo sound to the output over RCA jacks. And even on this mono player, you can tell that the sound quality could be quite good depending on the disc.
That's all you get.
Well, the Hitachi stations pick up some power converters.
Oh, and some
was that for copyright reasons, or is that actually all you got?
later models did feature composite out too.
Oh,
the much
did you need something whippy?
Bleaker second generation players had a semi-automated disc load mechanism, whereby you would only need to insert the caddy about 2/3 the way in, and it would take it from you.
Don't worry, we'll get to it as soon as we're done with this. I apologize.
This fine, and spit the empty caddy back out again for you to remove. Now, I used to have one of those players, and I'll tell you that while it's pretty cool, it dramatically slows everything down, especially disc flips, since you have to wait for the stylus to return to the park.
Oh, that's right. He mentioned that you have to flip the discs after a while.
Position, have the player return the disc to the load position, and then once it finally lets you put the caddy back in, the motorized action prevents you from doing a quick one of these. Sadly, that player never worked right, so I got rid of it years ago, but I put some links in the description so you can see some of those players in action. Regardless of that little annoyance from the later players, RCA did plan on using the digitally encoded position signals of the disc to enable things like true random access and disc flip chapters. However, they never got far before RCA threw in the towel. In April of 1984, RCA formally abandoned the system, announcing players would no longer be manufactured. The remaining stock of players were sold at steep discounts, and people did buy them because RCA committed to producing discs for 3 more years. That's right, RCA was so surprised with how many discs people were buying, they decided, well, nobody's buying new players, but at least those who own them are making us some decent money. Unfortunately, they didn't make it through to the end of their 3-year commitment, not only because sales of the new discs started to fall as owners abandoned the format, but also because in a somewhat cruel case of irony, RCA was purchased by their original owner, GE, in 1985, and swiftly broken to pieces. What was once a huge company with their hands in the buckets of communications, broadcasting, television, music, and at times even the military-industrial complex, was now a bit of quick cash for GE and a heaping pile of garbage. Although discs did in fact keep getting made for about a year after GE's acquisition, by 1986 the format was officially dead. So, what went wrong? And what could have been had things gone better? Well, fundamentally, what went wrong was that the system was delayed further.
Oh, I
finally,
see.
It was delayed again, and subsequently delayed before its final delay happened, before its eventual delayed release. RCA's internal target was a 1977 release, though personally I think that might have been a little too late to be truly successful, so let's just imagine they had managed to pull this off in only 11 years and get the product out in 1975.
Oh, so we're doing an alternate history.
In 1975, there were basically no VCRs anywhere. Yeah, there had been these weird experimental things kicking around for a while, and I hear Sony's getting ready to launch this new Betamax system. But you gotta be real dedicated to the idea of recording TV at this stage in the game, and fairly rich. But here comes RCA with their fantastical video disc, a player for only $500, and some of my favorite movies available to own for as little as $20. That sounds intriguing.
The magic of the RCA video disc, a simple, affordable record that, like magic, can bring not just sound, but sound and pictures, clear, beautiful pictures right into your living room.
I would bet good money that if this system was out in 1975, it would have been a big deal. For one thing, in hindsight,
I can imagine that.
These discs and
that seemed pretty impressive for its time, even if it never really got off the ground.
caddies are comical compared to a video cassette. But in 1975, I suppose they wouldn't seem too out of place. Music still comes on these things, and the video disc is only marginally larger.
The
By the way,
Muppet
I'm going to
movie.
take this opportunity to admire how RCA used a circular theme in most of their artwork to really hammer home that there is in fact a disc in here. I sound sarcastic probably, but honestly, I love this aesthetic. In 1975, this would have been the only way to turn your television into Selectavision. And doesn't that just sound neat? We've never had movies at home. You know what we're gonna do?
We've never had movies at home, just like how video killed the radio star.
We're gonna bring the magic home with RCA. And it will be wonderful. The fact that RCA sold 500,000 players and a few million discs 4 years after the VCR was pretty well introduced should prove in and of itself that the idea was actually quite sound. So, in a world where VCRs just weren't a thing yet, this would probably be an extremely compelling product. And with home video having proven itself before video cassette recorders truly became affordable, many people may have seen little reason to buy a VCR, at least until they got really cheap. With a robust installed base of maybe 10 million units by 1980, Blockbuster Films and theaters could expect to make another 20 or 30 million after they're on home video, and you just know movie studios would jump on that bandwagon real quick. With the greater manufacturing capacity financed by the successful system, RCA could start manufacturing more niche content like television shows, and maybe third parties would get into making their own discs, and oh god, this is horrible! If RCA had succeeded here, and everyone was selling their content to be owned on video disc, would the VCR have been outlawed? You might recall
I'm trying to pay attention. It's hard for me to really commentate on something like this when I don't have a lot of knowledge on the subject. Oh, nostalgia. I'm glad.
There was a Supreme Court case on whether video cassette recorders violated copyright law.
Oh, okay.
And we, in no small part, have this wonderful man for settling that with an emphatic no.
No! Mr. Rogers. You see, the thing is, if you give a white man a piece of cheese, he'll turn into Mr. Rogers.
Yes, I know this disc is in horrible shape, but come on, I'm not going to pass up an attempt to use this picture of Mr. Rogers on a video disc. I mean, duh. That case was settled in 1984 when it was clear that the CED was a disaster. But if CEDs had become successful and everyone from television studios to independent filmmakers was putting their stuff on CED, then suddenly the case against time shifting becomes a lot stronger. Of course you can't tape your own TV shows, since NBC is going to release that season next October. That would be infringing on their ability to make a profit, and we cannot have that. Oh no.
Oh no.
As a matter of fact, movie studios kept on locking.
And nowadays we have... Now, we don't support piracy here, but people will still do it anyway.
Lobbying for some sort of legislative action from Congress making time shifting illegal, and the fact that they were making serious money from rentals and home video sales is cited as one of the main reasons Congress basically said buzz off. Though, to be fair, requesting that you buzz off seems to be Congress's default strategy these days.
Oh, Lord.
That horrible hypothetical aside, a 1975 release would also have beaten DiscoVision to market, and I have a feeling Philips and MCA would just give up were that to have happened. See, though the existence of a Laserdisc was, I don't think, really hurtful to the CED, confusion between the two standards was definitely a thing. So having just one video disc on the market would further help RCA. And RCA didn't repeat Sony's mistake and be real stingy with the licensing of their tech. They were open to third-party OEMs getting involved. In fact, Hitachi, Sanyo, and Toshiba all manufactured third-party players.
Nice.
So it's unlikely there would have been a VHS of discs to unseat RCA's CED. Now, of course, RCA didn't manage to get their product out in 1975, but they still thought it would be worth trying. Their thought that the cheap-to-make discs and inexpensive player would be a good value compared to a VCR wasn't wrong. But they fundamentally misjudged something about the home video market. RCA basically forgot about the concept of rental.
Rental? Really?
Okay, forgot isn't quite fair.
No,
But their research led them to believe that people would prefer to own a movie than rent a movie.
I mean, people, at least these days, there's the whole discussion about whether or not, like, with regards to, like, owning games. I mean, there's the whole, like, what was it, the Stop Killing Games thing that took place a while, for which Pirate Downey Figtree was very much against, because then he wouldn't be able to prematurely sunset his game. But no, people have been complaining about not being able to own their stuff in the current digital age.
And with that stuck in their heads, VCRs could never make sense. But of course, for the VCR, rentals were a perfect two birds, one stone scenario. Pre-recorded VHS tapes are expensive and time-consuming to manufacture, sure. But if you're renting them, well, you're spreading its use out between 10 or 20 people. And of course, that means you only need a 10th or a 20th the number of tapes as you would if people were buying them. So tape duplication facilities don't need to be huge. Really, this was the one thing that RCA completely failed to imagine. Their product essentially relied on economies of scale and people wanting to buy their movies, and lots of them. That would, in fact, get expensive real quickly if you were buying pre-recorded VHS cassettes. But with a VCR, you could not only just pop down to your corner video store and pay something like $5 to borrow a movie for the night, but you could also...
Well, is that how Blockbuster got their big break?
Record TV while you were away. And once people started getting into that groove, they really weren't interested in RCAs. God, I love puns. Well, I didn't think I was going to end up making 3 videos about this format, but it looks like I am. Before I end this one, though, have you noticed something about the CED? Those of you who know a thing or two about Laserdiscs...
Okay, you're back. All right. Well, we're almost done with this. If we're going to look at the thing that the person that Whitby recommended.
They come in 2 flavors, CAV and CLV. CAV discs only held 30 minutes per side, but CLV discs could hold an hour by slowing the rotational speed of the disc as it played.
Oh, you signed that? Sweet. Good on you.
Use of a disc geometry. Well, CEDs are CAV. They spin at a constant speed of 450 RPM. And yet, they hold an hour per side. If RCA
an hour
said,
per side.
You know what,
so you could hold 2 hours of footage on that.
Players a bit more expensive by using a variable speed motor, but at the same time, we'll get 2 hours of video on each side. I think that might have made the format work. They had incredible information density on these discs, but wasted a lot of potential by using a constant rotational speed.
Oh, yeah.
If they figured out constant linear velocity, 2 disc titles would essentially be eliminated, and most movies wouldn't even need a flip in the middle. Double feature specials could be sold, 2 classic films for $20. And had television shows started to be released on CED, an entire season could fit across just 4 discs with bonus footage.
That sounds like...
It's a little late, but if I had a time machine, I might just whisper some thoughts into somebody's ears. For now, I hope you enjoyed part 2. I think it's safe to say that had RCA just timed this a little better, the CED wouldn't have failed. And I also think it's a fair bet that had that happened, our media landscape would be quite different. Maybe VCRs wouldn't be illegal, but you can bet that the home video scene would look nothing like it does today. Well, streaming is king today.
Streaming is king. And even today, people are complaining about streaming. So it's about the South Park streaming wars, too many streaming platforms and not enough. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people that want everything want an all-in-one solution, but some people just don't want anything to do with that. Although I do know that Warner Brothers and Viacom are thinking about merging.
Video scene of the 1980s and into the 2000s would look nothing like it does today. In the third and probably final part, we'll look at why RCA couldn't get this product out in time. It turns out that story is a lot more involved than at first you might think.
Okay.
I'm waiting on materials to arrive, so I may do something entirely different next, but be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, so you won't miss part 3.
Okay.
As always, I'd like to thank
all right. Well, we'll watch part 3 another time. Right now, I kind of want to get into what Whippy suggested. Let me use this one in particular. Okay, here, let me check to make sure that I remember which one is which. Yeah. I don't really keep up with things like Homestuck or Has-Been Hotel, so I don't know if I can really comment on it all that much. Explaining Spurb from Homestuck. Oh, here we go. I'm guessing.
If you're wondering,
Is it? I see this. This video here, although it's by someone named Tawny Platis. The Homestuck has been Hell of a Boss controversy explained in 98 seconds. This was the video that I think you recommended, although that's not the same exact artist, or that's not the same YouTuber. Well, I'm just gonna click on it and see if that's what it is.
if you're wondering why the internet is having a collective panic attack about the unholy union
All right.
of Has-Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss, and Homestuck, this is the entire thing explained in this many seconds.
I have no, I know nothing about any of these things. I just know that they're very popular, but also very divisive.
Fully employed, you might not know that Homestuck is a webcomic that was created in MS Paint.
Yeah, one of my younger sisters is into Homestuck.
That is roughly 100 times the length of War and Peace. And
Is it?
And is the Dr. Frankenstein to its monstrous fandom. The fandom's notoriety predominantly comes from the ancient 2012 convention Sharpie Hotel bathtub incident.
What the hell is Sharpie Hotel bath incident?
Where a fan allegedly filled a bathtub with spicy water and Sharpie.
What the hell is spicy water, and why did they do this?
And submerge themselves entirely in said bathtub for several hours, which caused them to not only get skin poisoning, allegedly, but also a bill for $700 worth of damages.
What the
allegedly.
Allegedly, in my opinion, because Lord knows they're gonna pull a Logan Paul and try to sue you for slander or whatever.
Also garnered a reputation for doing things like passing around a bucket at a restaurant for everyone to spit in.
What?
Because it's canon.
Because it's... Is it? She's showing, like, pictures of people that are doing that in real life.
Extremely intense thoughts and feelings about a fictional series and just general high school theater kid group at 11 p.m. at a Denny's energy.
At a Denny's specifically? No, that reminded me of a scene in King of the Hill where men, alcohol, and Sharpie ink. Oh, I guess you can't really say that here, or else you get demonetized. Well, I'm not really monetized on YouTube, so I don't have to worry about that, although it's probably one of the reasons that my videos don't get too many views. I don't want to have to censor myself. But no, going back to what I was saying, I'm reminded of a scene in the episode where Bobby becomes the Longhorn mascot, and, Hank made a comment about Bobby camping out in some bushes because they tried to steal the Belton armadillo. But Hank said that would take guts, and so he probably spent the night at Denny's.
So that fandom grew up, had children who watch Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss, and there's a lot of parallels in the weird shipping.
Yeah. Oh, the Verbal Ace, $50,000 goon animation.
Cringe obsessive fan discourse, with the only main difference being that it's not on Tumblr this time.
Oh, it's not on Tumblr.
If you have any kind of casual appreciation or understanding of either of these properties, which is...
But they want to make their skin gray. Well, I'm pretty sure there are better ways of doing that.
Honestly, most people, and what I described above, isn't the majority at all.
Right.
I truly think it's just a very vocal, chronically online minority.
I'm pretty sure you can say that about a lot of fandoms.
You may have missed why some of us are building bunkers under our houses in anticipation of the pilot premiering next month, but now you don't have an excuse, and you absolutely should be preparing for the Cringe Singularity event. And if you're a Homestuck fan devastated at the prospect of the merger, I'd like to remind you that you started this, and these are your children. Don't be a deadbeat dad. It's your responsibility to break these generational curses.
I have no idea how to properly respond to that. Went back to this. Whippy wanted to see it. I have no... Apparently someone in the Homestuck fandom put booze and Sharpies in a bathtub in order to try to turn their skin gray. Allegedly, in her opinion. Yeah. Okay, that was... certainly something. I don't even... okay, we've got like at least 15 minutes. Do you guys have any suggestions of what we should watch now? Because I did find this little meme video of one Saiyan versus 20 Frieza supporters. And I was like, this might be something fun to look at least in the sort of meantime. But if any of you guys have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. Oh, okay. Candy corn shorts. Like one of these or the actual channel in question? Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about people like this talking about Hell of a Boss. I honestly don't know what we're talking about at this point. I don't know anything about Hell of a Boss or any of that stuff, so I can't comment on it. We're only looking at this because Whippy wanted to.
Less talked about autistic and ADHD stims, lip or skin picking and hair pulling, counting or repeating phrases, staring at collections of visually interesting objects, repeatedly smelling things with good or bad smells, reorganizing your collections, playing things in your head like games, movies, or songs, playing with jewelry, your hair, or clothes, nail biting or rubbing nails together.
Why is that so relatable? No. Why is that? No. I have these headphones that have this little rubber container that you wrap the cord around, and I'm currently fiddling with it as we speak. Why the hell is that so relatable?
Hey, just a reminder, with all this blatant bigotry being spread about...
Oh, wait. I think I've seen that. No, I actually have seen this person in a video, a sort of expose video about the radical left, and I don't know if I want to keep watching this, because as someone with undiagnosed Asperger's, I have a brother with autism, and I have undiagnosed Asperger's syndrome, and I remember seeing someone showcase a short. I don't even remember what it was about, but they mentioned COVID masks in the year 2025. Oh, it was a shoe on head video. Shoe on head. I don't remember which shoe on head video it was. It was one that I reacted to when I was using my PNG tuber, and I remember one of this person's shorts popping up within it. I don't remember which shoe on head video that it was, but oh my god, no. This is giving me flashbacks.
What an autistic meltdown looks like to you. I'm sorry I ripped your stuffed animal, but it's really not that big of a deal. What it looks like to us. I'm so overheated from wearing my jacket earlier. My safe food tasted a little bit off. The music was way too loud. I can't get that smell out of my head. The lights are way too bright. My stuff needs to be reorganized right now. And my favorite stuffy getting damaged is just the last straw. What?
I don't really get like that. Well, is that, I guess shoe on, I know that within, like, shoe on head, video, she's just, if I can figure out, let me try to find that, it was, which video was it? I don't, oh, it was the Sydney Sweeney video that I think I saw it in. But I don't know if I want to keep watching this. Starform, is Starform another channel in? Here, let me just open up a new tab because I don't want to lose track. Oh yeah, I did look at education in Poland in last night's stream, but I think you may have left before we had the time to read it. But let me, you said it's called Starform? Or is that... I'm kind of confused by what it is that you're trying to recommend to me.
Autism isn't a disease. We don't need a cure or prevention.
I don't know. I'm at the point to where I'm pretty... Here, let me look at this while you clarify what you mean by Starform and watching their earliest short, because I'm genuinely curious about this video. So apologies for the lack of any clarity.
I am Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans, and today I'm surrounded by 20 Frieza supporters.
Start form? Okay. Start form. Alright. Here. Apologies for that. Is it a candy corn short, or is it like, I'm not getting any results for anything like that. All I see is, oh, I'm stupid. Okay.
Audio.
I don't want to. Oldest. This one? Okay, they're oldest.
Things I use every day as an ADHD and chronically ill person. Noise-canceling headphones, the electronic kind that have different modes because plain earplugs just amplify internal noises. Water wrist guards. These are so much better than the fabric kind and stop all those pesky arm drips. A collapsible stool. I can't stand for extended periods of time anymore, so this is a lifesaver in public. Dimmable lights and switches. Ditch the big light and sensory-related lighting issues. No tie shoes. Joint pain makes tying shoes difficult, so I use slip-in and strap shoes. Stim and fidget toys. I use all kinds to keep my mind and hands busy. A pill case. To store all of my pain meds.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Things I use every day as an fidget toys. I use all kinds to keep my mind and hands busy. A pill case. To store all of my pain meds. Padded house slippers. Because chronic pain makes walking on bare feet impossible. Comfortable clothing. From adjustable waist to looser fits. Heating pads. Because existence is pain. And masks. Because caring for community is cool. Things I use.
It's 2025. I don't want to watch this person, honestly, because this is the type of people that, the channels that I watch like to talk shit about as being radical leftists. And I don't want anything to do with the radicals on either side. I hope you're not offended by that, honestly, because I know that some people will get like that. I mean, I really shouldn't necessarily care about that, but I'm sorry, I can't watch this, in all honesty. Yes, I have actual sunshine. Okay. I don't want... I'd much rather do something else. I apologize. I really don't want to watch this person. I really don't. I don't think I can, in all honesty. Yes, I have undiagnosed Asperger's syndrome, and I can relate to, like, a few of the things that they might say, but I just can't, in all honesty. I think I'd rather just watch something else, something that's more... something that I can actually comment on, instead of just something that... No, people are gonna clip this out of context and just assume that I belong in an insane asylum, and I don't want anything to do with that shit, in all honesty. This isn't the kind of stuff that I want to watch, alright? And you like this? Alright. Well, at least... it's just... I don't know. It's not that... I don't know what it is. No, there's this YouTuber that I used to watch until literally the past, like, 2 to 3 months, that I used to watch, like, all the time, until they started saying things that have been bothering the hell out of me in more ways than one. And I really want to make either a video... No, I've thought about, like, dedicating an entire stream to just talking about that person. But I don't feel like that it's the opportune time. No, the other day I was watching... They have, like, 2 channels. I stopped watching one of their channels because they were saying some things that I couldn't deal with anymore. But after a while, but then I watched a video on their other, more main channel, and then they said something in one of their videos that just made me think, I can't do it anymore. I can't watch some people. Alright. Yeah, it's just... Well, I don't want to have to be in, like, a quote-unquote safe space. People have taken the concept of a safe space and... It's like, I don't want anything to do with the one extreme or another extreme. I don't want anything to do with either extreme. I just want to It's very hard. You have Asperger's syndrome. You're very hard to put things into words. I want to talk about things that can bring people together. I don't want to talk like. No, we were looking at this that I feel like would be that is definitely something interesting to look at, but. Unfortunately, when we were watching this, someone showed up in the Kick chat and started saying very obscene things. Like, very obscene things about not only me, but about other groups as well. And obviously, I don't want anything to do with that either. No, I've been meaning to talk about certain things that have been bothering me about YouTube, or at least certain individuals and certain communities on YouTube. It's not that I hate them. It's just sometimes they say that they think of themselves as like reasonable. I don't know if I would think of myself as quote unquote reasonable. Some people might think that I'm too far in one direction or another. Or if I try to think about who I am as a person and I try to talk about my personal beliefs, they're going to really want to dissect them and try to find something that's wrong or something that seems contradictory. And it's like, it's from one. You started watching part 1 from their contradictions and made sense and found that reliable. Well, I mean, to each their own. Some people like certain things and other people like other things. It's just, I don't know. I just don't want to have to, I don't want to have to deal with that kind of stuff. If people like, I don't know, I know I shouldn't be worried about people making out of context videos of me. No. Wolfie caught me the other day. We were looking at out of context Boondocks clips, and they were worried that they're gonna take me out of context or even reacting to Boondocks with people. There will be people that'll say, oh, you can't watch Boondocks unless you're black, and it's like, no, I can watch whatever I want, so long as it's nothing illegal, right? No, I can watch. Boondocks is one of my favorite shows of all time. As someone who is half Mexican, I am a colored person watching colored people. Because here's the thing about airplane safety. No colored liquids or people are allowed to board a plane. Because you cannot bring AK-47s onto the plane. But no, there are some YouTubers that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time that have been getting on my nerves. And it's not just YouTubers on one side of the political spectrum. What couldn't have been serious? Wait, are you, moth sex? Are you talking, you're not talking about that guy? Oh, hello, Gloomin, thanks for, following. You're not talking about that, like saying you can't. No, because I'm not black. No, I remember someone accusing some YouTuber saying that, oh, you're racist because you're watching Boondocks. No, I fucking love the Boondocks. I love Boondocks. Actually, no, I recently uploaded my wanting to show chat out of context Boondocks clips, and I think it's a fire video. It's currently unlisted so that YouTube can analyze it for the algorithm. But oh, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much, Whippy. I apologize. I just can't with certain things. No, it's like I was saying with Aisha watching that one video. When I saw I saw the freaking nose rings and I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's not that I don't like, no, I mean, if you want to wear piercings on your face, it's like, it's one of those, to each, there are plenty of people that do unironically think that it's hot. So, as someone who's already revealed on stream the kind of guys that I like, obviously, I'm very unconventional in terms of my feelings, but I try not to let them overwhelm me. But no, I've been meaning to want to talk about certain YouTubers in different sides of the political spectrum. No, there's this left-wing YouTuber that I used to watch their videos a lot, and they were hilarious. Their videos were absolutely hilarious, but they kept forcing their bullshit-ass political views in their videos. Your favorite blank says about... I've seen plenty of those in my day. Okay, here. Let me... Yeah, we can look up that kind of thing. What your favorite... Yeah. What your favorite... what your favorite Dragon Ball Z character says about you. All right.
Tell me who your favorite Dragon Ball Z character is and I'll read you to filth. You force yourself into being positive because processing actual emotions would require admitting that manifesting is not a career plan and good vibes only is just a trauma response and a crop top. People admire your radical acceptance but don't realize when you say, it is what it is, you're actually dissociating in real time because taking responsibility for outcomes is much scarier than just letting the universe decide. Your entire identity is built on achievements from when you were 12. Admitting this would mean rebuilding yourself from scratch, which sounds exhausting. You measure your worth against exactly one person because focused competition feels safer than acknowledging you might just be devastatingly average after being called gifted your entire life.
That's Vegeta to a T. No, I recently got done watching someone react to, or I recently got done with Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and that's Vegeta to a T. But...
Because you did well on a pattern recognition test in 2nd grade. You prefer being indirectly empathetic from the safety of your heavily guarded emotional fortress. And it's not that you really want to be stoic, it's more that you've been working in something with the public for so long, your face is just kind of stuck that way. You learn 17 different skills, not for joy, but because being useful is your love language, since actual vulnerability feels like swallowing glass. Every few years you have an identity crisis about your identity crisis. Try on a whole new personality like their low-rise jeans, get embarrassed, and then ghost yourself. You're prepared for the apocalypse, but can't prepare for small talk because, unlike Doomsday, chit-chat doesn't have clear objectives. You're also nostalgic for objectively terrible times because back then, at least you felt something besides this beige existence where your biggest adrenaline rush is driving on the freeway when there's no traffic.
I can relate to that. Right.
All right. Yes. I could cure cancer, and I can't even cure my vitamin D deficiency.
Let me finish
depending
this
on
first.
who you're hanging out with. You intellectualize everything because feelings are for people who didn't burn out at 25 from meeting expectations that were set when they were literally 9 years old and didn't know that being mature for their age just meant being traumatized.
Okay. All right. Let's look at. What your favorite Adult Swim show says about you. All right. Let's check it out.
This is what your favorite Adult Swim show says about you. You work in something very public-facing, and the public that you work with is why you're facing a mental health crisis. You also missed this very specific point in time where everyone was wearing flannel with skinny jeans, obsessed with mustache decor, and listening to stomp clap indie folk rock.
What the hell does that even mean?
You can't respond to a text in under 3 hours, you can't focus on anything for more than 3 minutes, and you always microwave your food just slightly longer than what the instructions advise. You have a horrific annual tradition you follow called forgetting to renew your car registration.
Oh, Lord.
You have more toys than the vast majority of children, and you communicate almost exclusively in viral sounds and TV quotes.
I mean, I do communicate with TV quotes sometimes.
This is the correct answer. Your furniture...
Oh, God. Let's go. Let's go. I made the right choice.
It was exclusively acquired from relatives and curbs, and you're wearing the same hoodie for the 5th day in a row because you think it's still good and passes the smell test, but I can assure you it does not.
Oh, don't worry. I wash my hoodies quite frequently.
Or
at the very least, I like to rotate them.
Are the reason people say, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. You think the length of your hair is compensating for its lack of volume. You bake, but only when baked, and you look like you worship darkness, but you're actually the ideal person for a lost child to approach at a theme park. You have a drawer full of cables for technology that no longer exist, and you begin your text with person's name, comma, and end them with love, comma, your name. You've finally stopped putting your IQ in your dating profile.
You need a certain level of IQ to understand Rick and Morty because, actually...
But you are still telling people you're the smartest person in the room, even though you don't know how to fold a fitted sheet.
Shit. Okay. Is there an... I've seen a few of these types of videos pop up in my recommendations every now and then. I see them in, like, other YouTubers also do this style of video. Is there another one that you want to look at? Here, Disney villain looks interesting.
Your favorite Disney villain in childhood was really just showing what kind of toxic people you'd be attracted to in the future.
Oh.
You fell for a man with a goatee who lived in his boss's basement, and now you're attracted to emotionally unavailable people who think being smart gives them the right to be condescending, and every time you thought they ate, they actually left so many crumbs. For you, it's the gym bros who think having biceps means they don't need to have a personality.
It's because his entire body is covered in hair.
People who interrupt you mid-sentence to tell you how they would have handled the situation so much better, and the kind of person who has so much audacity you know the only way they could have got it was in bulk from Costco. For you, it's people who need constant validation about their appearance and accomplishments and would take a selfie at your grandma's funeral and caption it angel energy. Also, all of her compliments somehow feel like threats.
This. By the way, it's magic mirror on the wall, not mirror on the wall. Mirror on the wall is a Mandela effect.
You're attracted to people who think being clever gives them permission to be cruel, and they also have an entire shelf on their bookcase dedicated to authors who disappointed them while they actively mispronounce the word caramel. You're
also attracted to lion people.
People you describe as passionate when they're really
favorite Disney crush.
Just exhausting, and people who say I know when you give them compliments. If she keyed your car, you'd say I love how confident she is and how she's just so unafraid to be herself, all because she has a face card that never declines, unlike your standards. Your type are people who bring you soup the first time you're sick and then accuse you of faking it the next time. You'll make a playlist together, and then when you break up, she'll rename it Lies You Told Me, and then send you a DM calling you the one that got away 5 years later when she's married with 3 kids and trying to sell her scented wax cubes to all her friends. For you, it's people who make you laugh so hard you ignore
Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Hades here.
all the blaring red sirens, like diabolical hygiene practices and your daily 18-hour video game marathons, because they'll do absolutely anything except work on their emotional regulation or take accountability, which is why there's now a fork sticking out of your wall. And if you're like, but Auntie Tani, what if I liked all of them, or if you didn't talk about much? Honestly, that just means you either have the same kind of judgment as a director who thought, let's make the bad guys hot was good for children's psychological development.
Oh
or
lord, that's actually a very interesting point.
Found your villain crush in someone even more niche, like that random guard who definitely had 3 lines and 0 character development, but something about his animated jawline really spoke to your daddy issues. Either way, the fact that you turn childhood cartoon crushes into a whole personality trait shows you've been committed to poor life choices since before you even knew what life choices were, and that's called consistency, baby. Also, I know you're considering buying yourself a little treat again today, and
I don't think I can say that I even have a favorite Disney villain. I mean, I have a favorite Disney movie, but... What's your favorite? What your hear me out says.
Tell me who your hear me out Disney crush is, and I will read you to filth. Oh, you want to take on another project? Is that because you finally finished all the other ones you started? Sure, you appreciate his snarky little quips, but are you prepared for him to rage quit on family game night with your parents when he loses? You think this is a man who won't have a literal meltdown when his hair won't stay styled? You're going to put in a caviar amount of effort and get a McDonald's chicken nugget relationship. I know what you're thinking. She's Eartha Kitt. She's a woman who's unapologetically herself.
Pull the lever, crunk.
She's a skinny purple raisin who has the audacity to believe she's a supermodel, and you're right, but this is also the endgame final girl boss, and it's toxic.
Oh, Lord.
I understand being attracted to a man with great hair who knows how to accessorize, but this is the kind of melodramatic guy in real life who'd have his acoustic guitar on him at all times and constantly talk about all the awards he won in high school when he's well into his 30s. Your mom's a real piece of work, isn't she? Controlling, self-righteous, and going to live to be 120 out of sheer spite? That tracks. For the last time, he's not smart, he's sarcastic with an accent or a voice that makes you slide right out of your chair. He's a sneaky little creep with subpar hygiene. You're better than this, Queen. He's not cute, he just has money that he uses for $500
Watch all of them, oh lord.
And to justify his poor behavior.
We'll have to finish the stream soon.
This is the kind of guy who's
because I have to wake up early for something tomorrow.
Rude to servers, and he can't change a tire, but will get mad at you for not being able to either.
No, not that one. Okay. What your favorite Disney prince says about you?
Do you have an all-time favorite animated Disney prince? Here's what it says about you. You keep falling for people with street cat energy, the kind of
It's Street Rat. Thank you very much.
Self-sufficient, slightly mysterious person who's going to give you a very expensive gift and neglect to explain how they got it. It's very romantic until their PO shows up at your door looking for them. You're sassy. You like to roast people. To
my whatever the heck he said, and let me guess. You have a great personality.
want that energy back because you'd rather be with someone who's a little combative and self-interested than somebody with no personality. Conversation to you is a game you can win and you play for keeps. We love you, but try some stuff. Get a second shot of espresso in your latte. Drive 5 miles an hour above the speed limit. I'm not telling you that you're boring. I'm just saying that smelling a jalapeno might cause you to perish at this point.
Oh,
I'm
Lord.
getting the sense that you're actually the breadwinner taking care of someone who's spoiled and doesn't do anything. What did they tell you? That they're gonna go viral, get 1 million followers, and take you with them? That they're just waiting for their inheritance? You like someone a little uptight, a little rigid, someone who's all duty-bound, and you just want to get in touch with their softer side and completely blow their mind.
The so-called bisexual icon.
With all your wild feminist ideas. Yeah, they're mine.
They're
Nope.
mine.
Oh, honey, do you have an all-time...
Oh, good lord. What's your favorite Disney Pixar movie? You have confusing feelings about cartoon foxes to this day. I've already come to terms with it. I try not to make a big deal about it. Okay, part 2.
This is what your childhood Disney animated crushes say about you. Part 2. You're naive, but sweet. You like being called baby. You don't mind being challenged. Oh, honey. You have good taste.
Oh, Lord.
You have...
Yo, did you need something?
bad taste.
You have to...
You're still thinking with your dick. This is...
no, he's not.
That's what you're...
Okay. Did you have another suggestion? There's a part... There's like... Why are there multiple parts to this? If you have something else to mention, go ahead and let me know.
These are the top requests from my last video about what your childhood Disney crushes say about you, and y'all are a bunch of degenerates, and I love it. Anyway, here's part 3. You can't fix them. They can't fix you. Therapy can fix you. Hopefully.
Oh,
how's that engineering?
Isn't Jack Skellington a so-called Tumblr sexy man, or am I thinking of someone else?
Retreating you.
I mean...
And now you have a crush on Deadpool.
What?
Gotta stop thinking with your dick. These are
Oh,
the
yeah,
top
it's
requests from my last video.
I honestly don't know what to think about this.
Many of your childhood Disney...
I do have a few Disney crushes, but I'm not gonna say what they are, because you'll just have to figure that out on your own.
Crushes have given me new things to talk about in therapy, so today we're taking a little break and analyzing what some of your less unusual Disney crushes say about you in part 4. You find mayonnaise to be just a little too spicy. Your very favorite flavor of ice cream is fat-free vanilla. When you need a pop of color in your life, you choose beige. When someone asks you how you're doing via text, you say, okay.
Sounds like me, but I don't think he's that good looking.
And nothing else. You know, I actually don't blame you for this one.
It's not Hercules, it's Himcules. I don't know where to keep going from here. Oh, we need to check this out.
Your requests in my comments section just keep escalating, and they are more wild than ever. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Here's what your childhood Disney crushes say about you, part 5. You've never paid for a drink in your life. You're somehow always the one paying for dinner. I see you. You like to do small crimes, and I can't in good conscience support that.
You know how many people are into Shago?
You like to do big crimes. And I would like to be cut in on it.
Oh, shit.
You are the center of the cuddle puddle, and without you, it would fall apart.
Alright, this stream has gotten a little slow, honestly. I don't know what else there even is to watch. Because I kind of want to finish up the stream rather soon. If there's any particular one that you might want to check.
I've seen your requests, and this is what more of your favorite Disney movies say about you. Pirates and sci-fi are both hardcore, and being introduced to both of them at the same time at an early age means you'll never have a healthy relationship with a Phantom again. You like punk rock boys or women in uniform, which means you have a problem with authority, but also find power attractive, and I'm sorry if that's confusing, but it's your life now. You may not go looking for the drama, but it does have a way of finding you. There is some full-on treachery going on in your midst at all times, and I want you to know, it is not your fault you keep finding yourself in a toxic relationship. It is this movie's fault for making you think you can change toxic people. You cannot, no matter how pretty they are. It's not worth trying, trust me. Some people look at you and see an emotionally damaged gremlin, but I see someone who has learned that the family you were given isn't as important as the one you make. And that wise
Maybe the family that we made were the friends that we made along the way.
Look, along with your kind heart is almost enough to make me optimistic. Almost. I've seen your...
Alright, let me check some things real quick. Things have kind of... is there anything else that anyone wanted to look at? I kind of want to finish up soon so I can get to bed. But, oh lord. Not as much, this stream kind of went a little slow, but I guess that's to be expected. You can't win them all, I suppose. No, I actually did want to continue that conversation that I was having earlier. I kind of did want to keep venting, but let me check everything. Actually, I kind of just... At this point, I kind of just want to finish up the stream, if that's okay with everybody. Yeah, because I'm kind of getting tired, and I kind of ran out of stuff that I actually want. How'd I like it? Certainly interesting, in all honesty. No, I do have at least a few Disney crushes, but I'm not going to say what those are. You're just going to have to figure that out on your own. And I've already mentioned what I said about Robin Hood. I said I came to terms with it, but I choose not to let it overwhelm me. So, I'm just gonna... We're gonna wind down for now. If anyone has any, like, last-minute things that they would like to mention before we call it a night, I usually give it a few more minutes in case anyone has something that they want to talk about. I'm honestly all ears if anyone has anything that they want to talk about. I mean, I've been wanting to, like, talk about things that have, like, meaning for me for a while now, but nobody... I mean, sometimes it gets brought up, but more often than not, it gets brought up in the middle of reactions, and it kind of derails the reactions. Although, is Milo from Atlanta? No. Which one is Milo? Let me look that up. Okay. No, he's not. No, I don't really care for him. But if you have any other questions, then feel free. Unfortunately, compared to Kick and YouTube, the YouTube feed is usually like usually behind, so I don't get the like Wolfie Kami would watch on Kick because it's a lot more. There's not as much latency between when I'm actually, like, when the live feed, there's not that much latency between the live feed on my end and what YouTube actually receives. And so there's usually, like, a delay between the actual video feed and when I get the messages. But if anyone has any last-minute things that they want to say, please speak now or forever hold your peace. It would probably be better if you... Alright, you gotta shop for more eggs. Alright. Well then, thank you all very much for watching. We got a third gift... We got a third tier 1 sub this weekend. No, we got 3 subs this weekend, and I'm so excited for that. So I hope to see you all next time. Take care.